Blog Talk Radio.
Broadcasting from Cincinnati, you're listening to the Ringside Reporter podcast. All the news from the world of boxing right here.
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you.
Now, here's your host, Eric Lorda.
Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorda, and I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib, and we have a great show for you today. And if you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now at 323-870-3857, and we'll be here till about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we'll get you out of here plenty of time to watch the games today on Championship Sunday. And today, we're going to talk about, it's official, Canelo will face Danny Jacobs on May 4th. Beeb, are you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he deserves it.
He does.
Danny.
He does. And Bob Arum says that Heyman doesn't want to work with any other promoters. Really? Did he really say that? I don't know. Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. I didn't know Tyson Fury was in the PBC, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Could be.
No, he just doesn't want to work with him, it sounds like.
Well,
right.
There's one fight that Arum wants, and Team Heyman and Team Spence doesn't want it right now, and that's the only fight that Arum is really, really hell-bent on making, really. So
I agree. All right. We're going to get started here. First, with Showtime pay-per-view. I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I know Ohio Runs Boxing's in the chat right now. I don't know how you guys feel about this. But Adrien Broner and Manny Pacquiao, I had Broner winning 118-109.
Give me a break.
How dare you? How dare you? Who do you think you are? We're in Ohio, son.
Adrian showed the hood up real well last night. He did real well.
He did this for the hood, Robert. The hood. How can you disrespect that?
Would you get real with the results?
I got real with the results. Lord is on crack.
Unanimous decision.
Well, I know what the judges said. I'm telling you what I thought when I saw that fight. And Beeb, I've got a text from you saying you agree with me. You had it the same way. Have a text. Have it in black and white.
had it identical.
Had it identical. Let me tell you what. Adrien Broner has to be the most frustrating guy ever to watch. He makes you miss and then does nothing. I mean, and, it is just maddening to watch this guy. He landed 50 punches. 50. Let that sink in for a minute. You can't win a fight like that, man. Pacquiao.
Floyd Mayweather had 50 punches.
Yeah, let me tell you what. And Notorious VC in the chat, I agree with you. Titletown got robbed last night. Let me tell you this. Pac was missing a ton of shots, but it didn't matter. He didn't look great either. Don't get it twisted. He didn't look great either. It's not like he looked stellar in there. He was throwing punches, and that's the only reason. It didn't matter because he was the one throwing shots. That was it. Whether he was missing or landing, it didn't matter because he was the only one throwing punches last night. Pac wins by unanimous decision, scores of 116-112 twice and 117-111. I will tell you this. I had it 116-112 for Pacquiao last night, and I'll be honest. I'll be real honest. I was very generous in the rounds that I gave Broner. I think it was 4 and 10. I think rounds 4 and 10 are the solid ones you can give him. No? Is that right? 4 and 10?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the other rounds, I mean, you really had to search. And, I mean, I think Broner clipped him. I think it was at the end of round 5 or 6 or so. It was something. It was one of those that I gave him that round. And
it was the end of round 6.
It was the end of round 6, and that's the round I gave him.
Yeah, you shouldn't have.
But, you're right. But again, I was real generous with it. Yeah. Let me read you the CompuBox numbers here. Pacquiao threw 568 shots and landed 112. 20%. That's awful. That is like a horrendous performance. That is completely bad. All right. Broner was even worse. He threw 295 punches. 295. That's it. That's all he threw. And landed 50. 17%. If I would have told you, Beeb, if I'd have told you Pac was only going to land 112 shots, what would you say? Would you think he won that fight?
If he fought Broner, yeah.
Yep.
If he fought Broner.
I will give Adrien one piece of credit here. He was able to slip a lot of shots and was good defensively, but there was nothing coming back.
No. Adrien Broner landed, on average, 4.1 shots. That's it. 4.1 each round, on average. That's what he landed. You're not going to win a fight.
It's one thing if you're taking a half step back, you're trying to set traps, and it's another thing if you're being forced back and you're being pushed out of position as you're being forced back. You can say what you want about the defense, but he was basically evading shots, but he was getting himself knocked out of position. That's why he couldn't, make him pay after he made a miss, because Manny Pacquiao fought this fight in spots, and a lot of punches he threw were basically setup punches. He wasn't trying, that's why punch stats are so deceptive, if you want to believe him or not. Because a lot of times he was throwing that jab as a throwaway punch. He wasn't even looking to land it. He was looking for a reaction, looking for him to, position Broner where he wanted to position him so he could line him up for the left hand. There was a ton of throwaway punches thrown by Manny Pacquiao last night, and that was part of the strategy. So, I respectfully disagree with him looking horrible because he didn't land all of the shots that he threw, because, again, I think that was by design, in my opinion. Go back and watch and look at some of those punches he threw. They were basically setup punches so he can get that left hand off. And one thing he did very well last night, more so than he's ever done in recent years, is the body punching. So I think Manny Pacquiao, on a scale of 1 to 10, I give him an 8 last night. I think he looked great. I don't think he looked bad at all. And I'm going to stick by my original statement that I made prior to the fight. I think he beats every welterweight in the world that's not named Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence. And that's a tall compliment, really. That's a great compliment, given the fact that the guy's 40 years old and he can still dominate. That just goes to show you how high ahead of everyone else that Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao were in their primes. So.
I don't know. I'll be honest, man. And I know you guys see something I don't. I really do. And Muro Ranallo even alluded to it last night when he said it was a shot-born Lucas Matisse that he knocked out. I don't see it. I really don't. You know what? And I'll tell you what. What I did on Friday night is I went to YouTube and I pulled up the De La Hoya fight. And then I pulled up the Lucas Matisse fight and put them side by side and watched them at the same time. And you cannot tell me this guy has not slowed down. You cannot tell me this guy is the same fighter. And I understand that he's not. And I understand nobody's really saying that. But what I saw last night is a very beatable guy in there against a guy who doesn't throw any punches at all. And it wasn't, you know what? And they talked about it last night on the television. Paulie actually brought it up in the Rasheed Warren fight, which we'll go over. He makes you miss in such a way that you miss by a wide margin. It's not like you're missing by a matter of inches. This is Broner I'm speaking of. You don't miss him by a matter of inches. I mean, you miss him by a wide margin. But in doing that, he has to move. So he takes himself out of position to make the counter, which is why he can make you miss, but he's out of position to make you pay. He just, it's just frustrating to watch. And again, any live guy, I really do. And I take Broner out of that equation. If you put Keith Thurman in there, Keith Thurman washes Pacquiao.
No, he doesn't.
Jeff Horn washes Pacquiao. No. Jeff Horn just washed Pacquiao. The fight was close. The Pacquiao Horn fight.
Pacquiao blows him out in a rematch. blows him out in a rematch.
Maybe. I don't know. But they're not going to rematch, so it doesn't matter. But, I mean...
I had that fight a draw. So, I mean, arguably it could have been 115, 113 for Pacquiao or had a draw. Again, he headbutted him. He was elbowing him. If Pacquiao knows what he's up against, he wasn't expecting him to get friggin' headbutted like that.
Well,
there's no way Danny Garcia washes Manny Pacquiao. No way. There's no way, Jason. He doesn't throw enough punches, Danny Garcia. He doesn't move fast enough. No, styles make fights.
This was a very good matchup, put it that way. And I thought Broner would have enough to get by Pacquiao. But
Pacquiao beats Danny Garcia.
Okay, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Eric?
Yes.
Since you think Pacquiao is washed up.
You think Pacquiao's washed up too?
How can you be washed up if you won 10 rounds out of 12?
Exactly.
Because, well, look who you're fighting. A guy who doesn't throw any shots.
That's supposedly illegitimate. Why didn't he throw any shots, though?
Because he never throws shots. Go look at his fights.
Well, my question.
Well, you can't throw shots if you're being pushed out of position. Guys who know how to take him out, who know how to push him out of position, guys who push him back, guys who know how to create punching angles and take his punching angles away. They're the ones that don't allow him to throw a lot of shots. He doesn't throw a lot of shots against guys that are on a higher level than him. It depends on the opponent. It's like Mayweather. Mayweather used to take volume punches, and he used to make them have very low outputs. It depends on the matchup. I mean, Manny Pacquiao fought a great fight last night. It was a very smart, intelligent fight.
He absolutely did.
The jab was incredible, and the body punching was very good. And he didn't get hit a lot last night. His defense was sound. And plus, Adrien Broner shelled up, went into a defensive shell, and went into survival mode the whole fight. And he was actually backing up. And I hate to say this, but he was really retreating last night. And he didn't make the fight at all. So Pacquiao had to give credit for Pacquiao because he had to make that fight. The whole onus was on him to make that fight.
Yeah.
And if he didn't make that fight, it would have been worse.
There was no fight. Yeah, I mean, if he didn't press the action, there was no fight.
So if you want to look at punch stats, go look at some Keith Thurman punch stats. Look at some Sean Porter punch stats. Look at some Danny Garcia punch stats. Look at the punch stats, which I'm not a punch stat guy. I don't like looking at those things. I think they're inaccurate anyways. But let's look at those guys' punch stats against each other. How high a percentage did Danny Garcia land against Keith Thurman? How high a percentage did he land against Sean Porter? How many punches did he throw against Sean Porter? How many punches did he throw against Keith Thurman? And when you're fighting at this level, and you got a guy in there that's got a decent defense, you're not going to land 50% of your punches. The average guy lands about 30%, 28 to 30%. So he wasn't that far off from the average. Just the fact that you had a guy running, you had a guy that was in retreat mode, and you had a guy that was shelling up on you, and you were intentionally missing punches because you were setting him up for your left hand. So you got to take all those. I think you're really misreading this performance. I mean, he doesn't have to be the Manny Pacquiao that fought De La Hoya, and look at the De La Hoya that he fought. De La Hoya was a freaking statue in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He stood right in front of him. He was dehydrated. He's not going to look like that against a guy like Adrien Broner, who's 29 in his prime.
No, what I'm speaking of when I say I watch those two fights side by side, what I'm speaking of there is the movement and the speed difference, and the punch volume. That's what I'm speaking of, not the opponent per se. I'm actually speaking of the way he moves, the way he throws punches, that kind of thing. But you mentioned punch stats, and you mentioned Garcia. What was his punch stat against Thurman, and vice versa. I can tell you this: I can guarantee they threw more than 295 which is what Adrien Broner threw last night, which was awful.
They throw more than Manny Pacquiao. And again, this is if you believe all those punch stats are accurate. Jason's criticizing me in the chat.
For what?
He's just trying to take shots, but it's kind of, you make yourself look really bad when you say things, Jason, because I'm not a punch stat guy. I just said if you're going to use them. I don't believe him. So what you're saying is you sat there and you counted punches then, Jason. I didn't sit there and count punches.
No.
And
Even if
and I'm not going to do that. But if Eric's talking about punch stats, then I'm going to have a debate with him about punch stats.
Sure.
Like we're talking about a topic. That doesn't mean that I co-sign on it. All right, so you just mentioned Bob Arum, then. So you're a big Bob Arum fan, then, right? Jason talked about Crawford. You're talking about Crawford, so you love Crawford, then. Okay. I mean,
no, I wasn't talking about punch stat. And I'm with you, Beeb. I'll be honest with you. I'm with you. I'm not I'm not a firm believer in punch stats.
It's a bad joke, Jason. He says it, but it's a stupid joke. It just doesn't make sense. It's not funny.
Yeah.
We're trying to have an intelligent debate here, and you want to make jokes. That's like preschool. But go ahead, Eric.
All right. No. What I'm saying is I'm kind of with you. I don't put much stock into punch stats either. But that being said, the glaring punch stat here for me was the Pacquiao only landed 112 shots, but the other glaring punch stat was that Broner only landed 50 and only threw less than 300 for the entire fight. That's what caught my eye. Now, whether that was the case or not, I don't know. I mean, could we rewind it and go through its, frame by frame? Yeah, we could. But it's kind of and again, we don't really use punch stats. Listen, even if you took those numbers out of the equation and I didn't know the punch stats or we didn't see the punch stats, he still lost the fight. It was still a pathetic performance. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was pathetic.
But I like this. I like this more calculated Pacquiao. Which you don't have to throw it. This isn't a punch throwing contest. Like you don't have to throw 800 punches a fight anymore. You have to evolve as a fighter. Every fighter, as they've gotten older, has become more economical. They've transcended their style. You can't fight the same when you're 40 as you fought when you're 30. If you're going to have longevity in this game, then you're going to have to, pace yourself. And plus, not only that, as a fighter gets older, he becomes more patient and less reckless and less overzealous and less anxious. This is a more mature Pacquiao that doesn't have to throw 1,000 punches just for the sake of throwing 1,000 punches. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think this is a good style for Manny Pacquiao at this stage of his career. Well,
listen, I mean, was he, did he look good last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but I compare it to the Pacquiao that I saw, again, that you see, in his heyday, that knocked out Ricky Hatton twice, or Ricky Hatton in the second round. That's kind of what I compare things to. And when I saw this Pacquiao last night, he's like, if it was like Terrence, could you imagine Terrence Crawford in there, Errol Spence in there, or even Mikey Garcia in there? Mikey Garcia would have killed that guy. That's not even a fight.
I don't think Mikey Garcia kills Manny Pacquiao.
Oh, yeah.
No way. It's a very, again, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. Anyone else, it's 50-50.
I don't know about that one, man.
Styles make fights, brother.
I agree, yeah.
Styles make fights.
That I hear you.
Danny Garcia. Look at Danny Garcia versus Mauricio Herrera. Look at Danny Garcia versus Ashley Theophane. Look at Danny Garcia in a lot of his fights where he just doesn't. Look at Danny Garcia versus Zab Judah. I mean, he faded late in that fight. Danny Garcia is very beatable because he can be outworked. And he's a mid-range guy. He's a great boxer, but he doesn't move well. He's not fast. Manny Pacquiao could definitely outwork a guy like Danny Garcia. Keith Thurman backs up a lot. He retreats. I mean, if Manny Pacquiao follows him as he's backing up, he could force the fight. He could win points off of aggressiveness. I think Errol Spence and guys like Terrence Crawford, guys who have that killer instinct, that dog in them, who can walk guys down. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence can actually walk guys down and overpower them and overwhelm them, and they have really excellent punches. They can walk Manny Pacquiao down. If you don't walk Manny Pacquiao down and back him up, you're not going to beat him.
So let me ask you. Let me jump in here real quick, Robert, before you go. What do you think about Sean Porter? Ohio Runs Boxing just said, what about Sean Porter? And I think that's another fight Manny Pacquiao gets washed in.
Oh, that's a tough fight. Tough fight for Porter. Because Porter, once again, a lot of times he moves in straight lines. He doesn't use angles. Pacquiao could step around Porter a lot in that fight. As Porter comes forward, Pacquiao's great at stepping around guys. You know what I'm saying? And once again, you need a right hand to beat Manny Pacquiao. Adrien Broner, what did he do last night? Just like I said, he's left-hand dominant. What was the predominant punch that he threw last night?
That left hook.
They kept trying to tell him, oh, when he throws that jab, hook over there, you're not going to beat Manny Pacquiao with a left hook. All the guys that had success against Manny Pacquiao were big, sharp, right-hand punchers.
Yeah.
Agreed. Porter he's not a big, he's a left hook artist too. Okay? Keith Thurman's another left. There's no guys in that division that have a dart of a right hand. You need a dart of a right hand like Marquez had, like Morales had, like Mayweather had to beat a Manny Pacquiao. You're not a left-hand dominant fighter is not going to beat Manny Pacquiao. It's not going to happen. I
don't know, man. I think that we agree to disagree on this one, obviously, but I think Porter just eats him alive. I really do. I think Porter just eats him alive.
He smothers himself too much, and he moves in straight lines. He doesn't use angles enough.
Oh, well, okay, guys.
Go ahead, Robert. I'm sorry.
Who does Manny Pacquiao fight next after this performance? I mean, Eric is convinced that he's washed up, and you've just ran through 3 top guys that Pacquiao could probably beat. So who's next for Pacquiao?
3 top guys he can beat. Who?
He can beat Garcia. He can beat Porter, and he can beat Thurman.
No. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. But I'll let you have your opinion. I mean, okay. So who does he fight next? That's a great question. Who does he fight next? It's going to be Floyd, and who wants to see that? Does anybody really want to see that?
I don't think Floyd will take it.
At this stage, I think it's a better fight than it was the first time because Floyd's not as defensively sharp. So I think Manny Pacquiao can get some stuff off on Floyd now.
I'll tell you what. You know what? I hate to agree with it because I hate the fight, but I think you're right. I think that, I think it's a better fight than it was the first time around. I really do. I don't want to see it, but yeah, I do think it's a better fight.
If that happens, you're going to charge a fortune for that.
And make no mistake about it. Getting back to that Manny Pacquiao matchup against the young welterweights, I don't think Manny Pacquiao blows out Sean Porter or blows out Keith Thurman. I think they're very competitive fights, but I think Manny Pacquiao can beat Danny Garcia pretty decisively because of the style matchup. I just think the style matchup is bad for Danny Garcia. I think that would be the best fight right now for Manny Pacquiao, a Danny Garcia fight.
Okay.
Who does he fight next? If it's not Mayweather, then I don't know. Maybe he fights Thurman next. Maybe he's the second Thurman comeback.
I don't know. But I tell you what, the win last night, whether you like it or not, is a marquee win. It really is. Adrien Broner's a name. Whether you think Broner's good, whether you think he sucks, I mean, it doesn't matter. Broner's the name.
Well, he won 10 rounds out of 2 against a 29-year-old guy in his prime.
Future Hall of Famer, Adrien Broner. Yeah, future Hall of Famer.
Whatever you want. You can say what you want about Adrien Broner, but he's a legitimate top 10 welterweight.
He is. He absolutely is.
He's a legitimate top 10 welterweight.
The bigger question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's probably not in the top 5, but he's definitely in the second half.
He was ranked number 6 by the WBA.
Yeah. Which that's kind of crazy. Do you guys think? I mean, because Broner was saying something to the effect of, what was he saying? Something like, somebody was saying he was like a future Hall of Famer. Do you guys really believe that? I mean, he's a 4-division champion. But the biggest, with the biggest win, I mean, out of those, was Paulie Malignaggi was like the biggest win he had, I thought.
No, I don't think Adrien Broner makes the Hall of Fame.
But is he better than Arturo Gatti?
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. So where do you draw that line? I mean, that's the bar they set.
It's not a question of it's not a question of would I vote him in or would you vote him in or would Robbie vote him in. You know what the question should be asked? Will he get voted in?
Right. That I don't know.
And probably yes, because of, I hate to say it with all due respect, the bar has been lowered.
Yep.
Oh, 100%.
The bar has been lowered. And
I mean, if we're realistic about it, Arturo Gatti shouldn't even be in the Hall of Fame.
And you know what's so funny, Robert? You know what's so funny? I agree with you 150%.
Yeah, I do too.
But it hurts me to have to say it because I kind of like that Arturo Gatti's in there because I like him as a fighter, I like him as a person, and I like what he did for boxing. He tried to, in terms of an entertainment, like, should part of the criteria be entertainment value for the fans?
And he definitely entertained every time he fought.
Exactly, but should that be part of the criteria?
No.
Honestly, absolutely not.
No.
But do some people judge on that criteria? Did he get in because of that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He was the Rocky. He was the real life Rocky of boxing. Because you see this guy in fights get his eyes busted up, his face looked like a gargoyle in some fights.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be down on the cards, and he'd pull a left hook from hell, and he'd win the fight.
Right.
So.
Yeah. At the post-fight presser, Broner doubled down. In the interview afterwards was classic. He was just going nuts, saying he won the fight, and with Jim Gray and everything like that. Started cursing and everything like that. At the post-fight presser, Broner doubled down and said, of course, he won the fight. Showtime did a poll at the end of the fight on who won. I've never seen, let me tell you what, the first fight of the night was, who was that? Was it Hugo Ruiz and Alberto Guevara, which I thought was a complete runaway for Ruiz. 24% maybe had, 23% had the other guy winning, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
This poll at the end of the fight, I think 94% had Pacquiao winning. 94 to 6. Yeah. I've never seen a poll that lopsided in my life. Ever.
But Eric, you know what the problem was? I don't think anyone really mentioned this. Go back and watch the fight and listen to the corner. Because Barry Hunter is telling him round after round, you're winning these rounds. And he basically talks the fighter into thinking he won the fight, in my opinion. Do I think Adrien Broner feels he won that fight 100%?
You mean Kevin Cunningham?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, was it? Yeah, Kevin Cunningham. I apologize. That's correct.
And I didn't hear, and I didn't hear that. I mean, and I didn't hear that part of it, and maybe I was paying attention to something else, which is entirely possible.
Go
but
back and watch it. He's telling him after every round.
I thought he was telling him to throw more punches. I thought he was telling him to counter him.
Well,
and he said you have to start countering him.
But Robbie, wasn't he saying at the end of rounds, hey, you're winning these rounds, you're winning these rounds?
Yeah, you're putting them in the bank, but you need to do more work.
Yes.
After two
I did
rounds,
hear that.
You know, after the 2 rounds, which he clearly lost, right?
Yeah.
First, he goes, "Oh, you got 2 rounds in the bank."
Yeah.
So when you're telling the fighter he's winning, that's horrible. That's the Emmanuel Stewart once said this. He goes, even if a fighter's winning a fight, you never tell him he's winning a fight. You know why? Because you don't want him to get complacent and take his foot off the gas pedal. You don't want him to get too comfortable in there and start giving away rounds, because you never know what the judges are doing and how they're scoring a fight. And, that's the problem. He was telling him, oh, that's another one in the bank. That's another one in the bank. Go back and listen to that. Kevin Cunningham was doing that. And at the end, and then at the end of the fight, he goes, oh, you got this, bro. You got this, twin. So, I mean, it's like,
I don't get that. Yeah.
You're brainwashing the guy into thinking he's winning the fight.
Right.
And because he thinks he's winning the fight, of course he's not going to change up what he's doing, because he's thinking what he's doing's working.
Right.
So I love Kevin Cunningham. I think he's a great trainer. But I think he did a bad job last night. I don't think he did his fighter any justice last night. It was the same thing in the Marquez. Remember the third Marquez Pacquiao fight? And Emmanuel Stewart brought this up. When Nacho Berenstein said, "Hey, you're winning the fight. Just stay away from him the last 2 rounds and coast." And Emmanuel Stewart said, "Hey, that was the worst thing he could have done, because then the fight he ended up losing the fight."
Well, didn't the person in the corner of De La Hoya do the same thing when De La Hoya fought Trinidad? He said, "This is easy. You don't have to worry about the last 3 or 4 rounds. You got this one."
I can't remember the dialogue in that corner, but you could be right, Robert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, trainers shouldn't say stuff like that. you develop a game plan during training camp. You need to stick to it throughout the fights. You don't change up your instructions, no matter how your fighter's doing. Especially if you think he's winning, you tell him to stick to the game plan. You don't sugarcoat things. Oh, you got this one. Don't worry about it.
Well, in fairness though, that's, listen, you saw the way he fought. Could that be what they're telling him in camp? That they actually think he's winning? Look, man, I'm kind of reaching here, but I don't know. I don't know how you can look at that fight and thought that he won rounds or that he was putting the first 2 rounds in the bank. I'm like, what are you watching? Even though one of the judges did give him the first round.
Yeah, it's like the Marcus Browne fight last night. Browne actually got upset in the corner after one of the rounds because they were trying to tell him to change things up, and he's like, hey, I've got this. Don't worry about it. You know?
Right. So, all right, so I was watching Wingy last night because Wingy did a show right after the live show, all right? So Wingy did the live show last night, and he was saying that there were people out there that actually thought Broner won, and I thought he's got to be trolling, right? He's got to be, trolling.
Yeah,
I was watching
that's nuts.
Yeah, I was watching the press conference after the fact, and one guy asked Broner a question that just blew me away because Broner was at the press conference. He said, we were like, we're watching this, and I'm like, what in the world? The guy's question, this is beautiful, and it's not exactly verbatim, but it's real close. I feel like the numbers that you brought up weren't. I feel like the numbers that were brought up doesn't really give you credit. You had terrific ring movement. You look very great. You let your hands go earlier than you did in previous fights. What was the motivation behind it? And do you feel you can continue from here on out? Are you serious? That was actually like a question.
Look what Tiffany Haddish asked him.
Tiffany Haddish is a moron. I don't even know who she is.
She's a comedian, and she did a.
She's not. I tell you that.
No, she's not.
The fact that she's a comedian is a matter of opinion.
Hey, you know what? She's doing well. She's making money for herself.
That's right.
I don't knock anybody's hustle, man.
There you go.
I don't knock anybody's hustle, but you know what? She's horrible.
I love how you just said that in the same sentence. I don't knock anybody's hustle, but she's terrible.
Yeah, so I guess I do knock her.
You just knocked her hustle. What are you doing?
Yeah. I'll knock her hustle, but I won't knock her bacon.
That's the greatest ever.
She could take the Beeb out to friggin' the 99s for a platinum dinner any day.
Honestly, I think our train wreck of the week should be the pay-per-view cost last night. I think we all got ripped off pretty much.
Did we?
Nah, it was a good card, bro.
Did we, though? Listen, you got 12, what do you got, 12-round fights? You got 4 12-round fights?
No, one was 10 rounds.
All right, well, 10 rounds. I'm sorry, Robert. Come on, man. Well, seriously, you got, all of them went the distance. They were all competitive. All the fighters gave a lot of heart, man. The losing fighters all gave they showed a ton of heart. Even Broner, they showed a ton. Listen, man, Broner could have bought out of that fight. Badou Jack could have bought out of that fight. And, so there it is.
I don't know.
All right, before we go on to the next fight, I guess we got some business to take care of. Now, listen to me. Everybody knows that my streak has gone on for years. It is what we call the stuff of legends. Beeb, am I wrong here?
Well, you should have bet that Chris Eubank fight, and you pulled and you kind of you basically had your pen like 2 centimeters away from the paper.
Sure.
And then you pulled it right back up. You were talking all that trash how you thought that Eubank was going to beat Groves, and I told you it wasn't going to happen. And we got in this debate for a couple shows in a row, and I thought for sure you were going to pull the trigger on that, and you didn't. There's a couple times where me and Georgie and others had you in the corner, and you basically faked an injury out of these fights. So I'm a little bit disappointed with that, but you manned up in this fight.
100%.
And you took your L like a man.
Absolutely.
So all is forgiven.
That's true. And, I will tell you this. If, I'll take a pie in the face because, and let's put it on the line here. I don't know that I'm not still the champ because no official bets were made. Beeb, please, for the viewers, please restate the rules. Don't you have to call in to make the bet?
No, you don't have to call in. That's
what? Yes, you do. That's been the rule since day one.
You sound like Eddie Hearn now. You sound like Eddie Hearn.
Oh, how dare you? You're going to sell me out now. You're going to sit here and sell me out? That's cold-blooded, Beeb. It's cold.
You had an interim title.
Interim title?
It wasn't even
Get away from me with that.
It was an interim title.
It was an interim title. I'm the real champ. The champ. That's me.
You never defended against Georgie after Georgie beat you.
So let me tell you this. We've given Elena the honors here to give me the pie in the face. All right. But I'll be honest here. I don't know that she'll do it. I'll tell you why.
Have Lisa do it. She'll do it.
Lisa's not going to do it either. I'll tell you why.
Lisa will do it.
Look at my beautiful girl right here.
Call
do you think...
Call somebody a cupcake and Lisa will do it.
I would never call any woman a cupcake. All right? That is for sure. Elena, you don't really want to pie me in the face, do you, sweetie? I mean, I've made you, let's face it, I've made you a celebrity here. I've made you a celebrity. I put you on here for the train wreck of the week. Well, we're not going to even say what I bought you for Christmas, the iPhone X. That was pretty nice, right?
Yes.
Wow, this is
I get you.
bad here.
So, I don't think for 1 second that you would actually pie me in the face, would you?
I would.
What?
I would.
You would pie me in the face?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, before we go, I want you to see what Daddy did for you here. I want you to take a look at the screen and see. I know you're selling Girl Scout cookies. And if you go to elenascookies.com, you can get your Girl Scout cookies there. You can have them shipped anywhere all over the nation from my little girl right here. And now what do you get? You get like, you're looking for, if you sell like a certain amount of boxes, you get,
enough of
you
this.
quiet down while the champ is talking, son. You quiet down while the champ is talking. Listen, it's not my fault that she won't pie me in the face. I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to pie myself in the face. I'm not an idiot.
Get him, Lisa. Get him, Lisa.
So, Elena, those prizes and everything could all be yours.
That's it.
That was terrible.
That's it. While you're at it, go take some of the Girl Scout cookies and crush them up and throw them in his.
You shut up, Beeb. Awful. Now, how am I going to clean up after this?
That a girl.
Get out of here. You're completely ungrateful. Is what you are.
Oh, come on, Eric.
That's all right.
Take it like a man.
Completely ungrateful. Your own father. Shut up. All right, guys. Why don't you guys talk about the Badou Jack and Marcus Browne fight while I get cleaned up here?
Okay. Well, Beeb, I don't know about you, but I thought this was going to be a better fight than what it turned out to be. I mean, it was good, but I think the headbutt in the, seventh round, or what was it, fifth or sixth round, kind of changed things.
But he was very far behind. I think I gave him all 7 rounds up until that point, or maybe I think I gave Badou Jack one of the first.
I think I had it 5-1 going into the 7th.
I had it like 5-1 going into the 7th. So
yeah,
and then I had him win in the 7th. I think the big thing that I think Browne did very well in this fight was control the range. He didn't let Jack operate on the inside. He tied him up well on the inside. He turned him a lot, and he didn't stay up against the ropes. He was able to spin out and turn and pivot away from Jack a lot in this fight. He was fighting beautifully from the outside. His jab was on point. And if you notice, his hand positioning and his stance is constantly changing in there. He's always, like, as Paulie Malignaggi likes to say about fighters, he's always giving you a different look.
Yep.
He gets real. Sometimes he'll keep his feet far apart. He'll get real low. Almost looks like Roy Jones sometimes in that stance. And then he'll spring up. And when he springs up, it's kind of hard to gauge what punch is coming out after he comes out of that crouch. So, I think his jab was beautiful, as I said. I think he threw a very sneaky left hand right down the pike. And also, when he got close, he made sure he dropped down to the body and made sure he, put in some of that body work himself. So it wasn't like he was just headhunted in this fight. I think his offense was very versatile. I think the way he gauged range and the way he moved and the way he never allowed Jack to get set and allowed Jack to get comfortable in there. He definitely took Jack out of position and did not enable Jack to get his offense going in this fight because of the way he was moving, a lot of little subtle things he did, throwing beautiful feints too. He was not predictable at all. He was feinting behind that jab. He was doubling and tripling it. And I just think that he fought an excellent fight. And I think I give Jack a lot of credit for trying to fight hard out of that cut on his forehead. But at the end of the day, even without that cut, he was still losing the fight. So,
yeah.
I think Marcus Browne fought a beautiful fight, and I think he won the fight going away.
Oh, absolutely. Do you think at any point that fight should have been stopped, or did they do the right thing by allowing that to go 12 rounds?
If it was me, I probably would have stopped it because I think he couldn't see. But also too, I think what Browne's corner was telling him to jump on him because I think if he just jumped on him, even if he didn't land a ton of punches on him, I think the ref was looking for a reason to stop that fight. And even if you're not getting hit with shots, but you're up against the ropes and you're getting blanketed with punches, if you're not punching back, then the ref's going to stop the fight. So I think because of the cut and because of all the blood in his face and in his eyes, I think that if Marcus Browne jumped on him, he could have forced a stoppage possibly in this fight. But because Marcus Browne kept fighting very methodically, I'm not going to say cautiously, he fought very patiently, and he didn't fight overzealously at all. Because of the way Marcus Browne fought, he did give Badou Jack somewhat of an out in this fight for not having the fight being stopped.
What about the doctor at ringside? Or are you surprised that the doctor kept letting that continue? I mean, they kept taking breaks in the fight. Hey, doc, look at this, and
Well, the cut was getting worse.
Yeah.
It wasn't getting better. It was opening up wider. So to answer your question, yeah, absolutely. I was surprised the fight wasn't stopped on that cut.
Yeah. No. And Marcus Browne called out Vostek after the fight because I guess Teddy Atlas, has been going around saying he's got the best light heavyweight in the world. What do you think about that possible matchup?
It's a great fight. That's a great fight. I think Browne's style presents problems for anybody. Would I favor him in that fight? It's a tough one. I think I would slightly favor Browne in that fight, but Vostek can punch.
He proved that.
But Browne's a tall, lanky guy who's really a very versatile guy, and he's so great at gauging range. He's got such a long body. He's so great at fighting on the outside and keeping guys at the end of his punches. And he doesn't let guys get in their comfort zone. He's able to take people out of their comfort zone. So it'll be interesting to see if Vostek tries to get into a duel from the outside with him, how that fight plays out. I think Vostek would have to try to take it to him and land something big. But again, Browne's a dog in there too. He digs to the body. He could fight a little bit on the inside too. When you get up close to him, he knows how to fend you off. So, and he's a big, strong guy. I think the referee took a point away unjustly. I think that was just the flow of the fight.
Yep.
There's such a thing as called like holding, and there's a difference between holding and clinching. Clinching is when you grab and you try to control the guy. You body the guy a little bit. Holding is a desperation move where you're just not even trying to take an offensive stance or posture. Whereas I think what Browne was trying to do with these clinches, he's trying to grab him and push him back and walk him back and kind of turn him and position him in, positioning him into his offense and his punches. I don't think he was really holding per se. I think he was clinching and trying to body him and maneuver him.
Mm-hmm.
And
now
walk him back a little bit.
There are other champions in that division. Do you see a better matchup for Browne than Vostek, or is Vostek the most likely choice?
I think him and Vostek could probably be the two best, but that's definitely debatable.
Okay.
What did you guys think of the instruction that Badou Jack got between rounds from Lou Del Val?
Horrible.
It was
horrible.
Awful.
Talk about a did bad. He did awful.
It was probably the worst instruction that I've ever heard. It was really that bad.
You don't train a guy to win by disqualification.
Yeah.
That was his only saving grace. And as a trainer, I mean, when you see that cut, I mean, and somebody on Twitter, I think it was Tommy Boxeo, would ask me, you know, have you ever seen anything that bad? And who was the fight where?
Klitschko.
Yeah.
Against Lennox Lewis.
Where they could see the bone or something like that. I don't know if that was the fight, but they could actually see clear to the bone. And so
I thought it was that fight, but
I don't know. I don't know what fight it was, but that was like the worst. And so if they could, you know, if they didn't stop it for that, then I don't know. But that was a pretty deep cut. You know, I don't know.
That was a horrendous cut.
Yeah, I don't know why his trainer at that point, who you know, he's not winning. He's not winning the fight. I mean, he was getting manhandled pretty well. I don't know why his trainer doesn't step in and say, look, you know, I mean, you may let it go for 1 or 2 rounds, but right around the, you know, 9th round or something like that, that's it. We got to call this because you're not winning the fight.
In the 11th round, Browne opened it up even worse.
It was smaller. By the end of the fight, it was huge. I mean, Browne had really opened that thing up. Browne did such a good job, I thought. He was really impressive. I thought he did such a good job of keeping Badou Jack at range, at dictating the range and everything like that. And, he did a good job, man. I tell you.
Yeah, he did.
And I don't know, I mean, who beats him? I mean, really, who beats him at light heavyweight? I don't know. I mean, he looked that good.
Bostic has the best chance.
Yeah, I mean, he looked that good. He really did.
He did.
All right, so let's move on here. Nordine Ubali versus Cincinnati's own, Titletown's own, Rasheed Warren for the WBC vacant bantamweight title. This was another one. If you saw the Broner fight, then you saw this fight. They fight exactly the same way. Rasheed is a little bit more offensive. Not much. Not by much. You know, and the worst part is that Rasheed, this is a very winnable fight for him, you know, but he has to throw punches. And both, you know, when you're in, you know, the bantamweight division, 118 and stuff, I mean, look, man, you got to throw some shots. Those guys are all throwing, they're all busy. They're all going to be throwing shots.
There must be something in the water in Cincinnati. What can I say?
Well, Warren got off to a great start. I mean, he won the first 2 rounds on my card. And then after that, the only other round I gave him was the 10th. I thought he got blown out here.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Yeah, I think Ubali was just he was very explosive with that hook. You know, and Warren had a hard time stopping that punch. Just for whatever reason, Ubali had a great way of setting it up. You know, he would you know, hook off the jab. He would throw feints, and you know, he was going good to the body. He just kept applying pressure, and I think he really wore Warren down. I think he I think he manhandled him, and he out muscled him in a lot of points in this fight, and he kept pushing Warren back, and that goes back to what I'm saying. If you're being forced back out of position, that's different than, you know, tactically moving backward. You see guys who tactically move backward and set traps like Erislandy Lara. They'll take a half step back and then slide off to the side and create punching angles for themselves and, you know, turn their guy and make their guy follow them around and walk them into punches. This wasn't the case last night with Warren. Warren was being forced back, knocked off balance, and he was not in position to throw punches. So again, you know, it's very easy to say, you know, why doesn't a guy throw more? But if he's not allowed to position himself where he can throw and get his offense going, then this is what's going to happen. And these guys are identical, Broner and Warren, in the fact that they allow themselves to get forced back. It's almost like they get into panic mode when they're being pressured. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not questioning them psychologically, their heart or whatever. They both have a lot of heart, and I'm sure they both train very hard, and they both have a champion's heart and mentality in there. But mentally, I just think they get flustered, and they don't know how to compose themselves under fire. And once that occurs, you know, they're just at a loss for not being able to get their offense going. And these 2 fights, the Pacquiao fight with Broner and the Warren fight with Ubali, were almost carbon copies.
It absolutely was. And, you know, you look at those two guys who grew up together, came out of the same gym together, and they fight pretty much the same type of style. I mean, they really do. They fight pretty much the same type of style. They don't throw a lot of punches. They make you miss. They're never going to be like, I would find it hard to believe. Everybody said that Pacquiao was going to knock out Broner last night. I knew that wasn't going to be the case. Listen, if Mikey Garcia couldn't knock out Broner, I didn't see any way Pacquiao was going to do it, especially at this late stage in his career. But the thing is like with both Broner and Rashid, their defense is just way too good. And if you don't want to get knocked out, you're not going to get. You have to take chances to get knocked out. You have to put yourself in a position to get knocked out. You may have the fight stop because you're being overwhelmed, but you cover up. You're not going to get like knocked out. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
And that's the way it is. And I think that they're very defense first oriented fighters, and that's a very hard thing to get rid of. And I don't care what trainer they go to now, it's not going to make a difference.
Well,
because it's already ingrained in them. Go ahead, Beeb. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I think Paulie Malignaggi made the point that they're either offense or defense. There's no in between. There's no quick transition. Like when you see a guy like Mayweather or Andre Ward, every defensive position transitions into an offensive position. Same thing with Mikey Garcia, being able to move out of the way of a punch, but in the same token, set yourself up, have your feet underneath you as you're moving away to fire right back, or to slip and then roll a shot and then roll right back into an offensive position. So it's almost like a 5-speed versus an automatic transmission. When you got a 5-speed transmission in there, you have that time, that gap, that torque in between shifting gears. Whereas an automatic transmission shifts right on the fly. You have fighters like that who can shift on the fly, or you have guys who are like manually transmission type guys where they have that hitch in between their transition. Guys like Broner, guys like Warren, they have that hitch in between their transition. So they're a manual transmission going up against an automatic transmission, and the automatic transmission processes faster and can slide right back into an offensive position right off of a defense position, and they're usually going to get off first, and they're going to be in position to throw punches, whereas the other guy is not.
Right.
And that's a problem. So Paulie Malignaggi did bring that up. They're either all offense or all defense.
Yeah.
And Manny Pacquiao to some degree is like that too, but not as much to the extent because he's so fast, he's able to reset quicker because of his foot speed, whereas Broner doesn't have the greatest foot speed. Warren doesn't have the greatest foot speed. So if you're going to have that type of style of fight, then you're going to have quick feet, which both of these guys do not have.
You know what's funny though is like you look at the punch stats again. We're going to go back to punch stats here, but for Floyd and Manny, and I know Manny didn't throw a whole lot. I know he certainly didn't throw 562 like he did here, but he didn't throw a whole lot of shots against Floyd either. And the reason being is just like the same reason people didn't throw a lot of shots against Bernard Hopkins. Is because defensively he was very good, but also he made you pay. And that was the difference. And with both Warren and with both Broner, they make you miss, and they don't make you pay. So you can miss all night, but you can keep throwing shots and still put rounds in the bank on them. So.
And then people say that he's a counterpuncher. He's not a counterpuncher. He's a guy that punched Broner.
Okay.
And Warren. These guys they're both guys that punch with you. So you may get off, and they're trying to punch in between your combination.
Yeah.
That is technically counterpunching to a degree, but it's not traditional counterpunching in the sense that you're actually allowing the guy to throw his punch and slipping it, and then you're transitioning right back off the slip into a punch. These guys punch with you. They don't punch off of you.
Right.
Off of your you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They don't punch. They don't react off of your miss. They punch with you.
Right. All right, so it wasn't all bad for Cincinnati last night. Wasn't all bad. Desmond Jarman and versus Canton Miller. They were junior lightweights. Jarman from Ohio wins a majority decision by the scores of 58-56, 59-55, and 57-57. I don't know what the other judge was watching, but clearly unanimous decision. But I'm just saying
it was a fluke.
It was a fluke, right? Just like the Broner Pacquiao score. But I don't know. Do you guys recognize the name Desmond Jarman? Beeb? Didn't I say he was my prospect of the year?
Oh my God!
Wasn't he the prospect of the year? I believe he was.
You said that after the fight last night, yeah.
I did not. I said it a couple weeks ago. I said Teofimo Lopez, and a dark horse was Desmond Jarman. That's what I said.
I want to hear the transcripts.
I'll get them for you. Oh, I will get them for you. You bet that.
Anyway.
All right.
I noticed how he goes off of the pay-per-view card and talks about one of the undercards before the show comes out.
That's right.
Of course.
That's how I do things, buddy. All right. On DAZN, Demetrius Andrade versus Arthur Akavov for the WBO Middleweight Championship. Let me tell you what, man. Andrade won via stoppage in the 12th round. This was a horrible stoppage, and Akavov should have been allowed to finish the fight. That being said, and he did stop the fight with around 20 seconds left, and this was not Chavez Taylor. This was, he could have finished the fight, no question. That being said, it was a one-sided fight. Andrade really looked solid here. He was able to dictate the range all night, and that was my thing, man, is that every time, you could see it. Akavov would throw a shot, and he's just out of range. He did such a great job of dictating the pace, the range, everything. Andrade looked very good last night. Very good. And as far as middleweights goes, he looks like one of the best in the world. He called out Triple G after the fight. I think he beats Triple G. I think he beats Triple G fairly easy. I think he beats, I think him and Canelo is a great, great fight, man. But yeah, Andrade looked amazing.
He'll probably fight Saunders next, which is a good fight.
That's a good, man. That's a good fight too. And I definitely favor Andrade in that fight, but man, that's a good fight. Saunders is no joke, I don't know if you guys, and I keep saying this every time they show DAZN, every time I watch DAZN, rather. The DAZN announcers are horrible.
Yeah, they're gross.
Not just the ringside announcers. The entire crew.
I like Chris Mannix, though.
Terrible. I don't like Chris Mannix either. I don't like any of them. The only guy I can keep is Sergio Mora. That's the only one. Everybody else, they have to gut him. Who was the guy from ESPN on there? Kenny, what's his name?
Brian Kenny.
Brian Kenny.
Brian Kenny.
He sucks. He's terrible.
He used to be with Showtime. So.
Yeah, well, he sucks.
He used to be with ESPN, too.
Yeah, well, he still sucks. But the entire crew, honestly, is terrible. That Cupcake they got up there, she's terrible.
You can't say Cupcake.
Well, she's gone now. I can say it now because she's gone. Those two guys, Ak and Barack. One of them were there, and he's going on about his big love fest with Canelo and Danny Jacobs, and he's kind of upset that they're fighting because he doesn't know who to ride with because he bought Canelo clothes, but he's friends with Jacobs and.
Oh my God! And this guy's an announcer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be unbiased.
Dude, come on, man. They're horrible.
I'm very glad I don't have that.
And let me tell you another thing I do not like about Matchroom and DAZN is that the Matchroom, and we've seen this before because they always do it. The Matchroom they have a video package before the main event goes on. All right, and they do that before every main event, before the main event or whatever. They have this video package that they play, and it's a cool little video package. It's got like Herbie Hyde on there, Anthony Joshua, a lot of, Chris Eubank was on there, Nigel Benn. But it only features British fighters. Mm-hmm. And I understand, I get it, Matchroom's a British company, I get it, but there's Matchroom USA now, and you're showing this in the United States. Mix in some American fighters in there. Get your audience interested. 90% of the fans in there don't know who Herbie Hyde is. They don't care about Chris Eubank. They don't care about Nigel Benn because they don't know him. Put your current stars in there. Mix in your current stars in this video package. You know what I mean? It just it's kind of like knowing your audience. Know what they want and then give it to them. All right, let's talk about Jorge Linares versus Pablo Cesar Cano. This was a shocker to say the least. Pablo Cesar Cano completely demolished Jorge Linares. He knocked Linares down 4 times in the first round, got the stoppage. I tell you what, man, he looked like a world beater out there. And Linares, everybody thought Linares coming off the fight with Loma was going to be great, and man, he just got demolished. Any thoughts on this, guys?
Linares was a 12-1 favorite.
Yeah.
And my boy Ryan Hong on Facebook told me before the fight, a couple of weeks before the fight, he liked Kano in this fight. Put $100 on Kano last night, and he made $1,200. Shout out to Ryan Hong on Facebook, my brother from Japan.
How did he know that Kano was going to win this fight? What did he, you know?
He likes the punching power. He believed in the punching power. He asked me, he goes,
And he was going up in weight. Linares was.
correct.
Yeah.
And but he's been up there before. But he asked me, you know, is it worth a play? And I said, well, I don't see it. I don't see him winning. But I mean, if you're going to make a play, make sure it's not too big. Threw 100 on him, and he made 1,200. Shout out to
That's
him.
awesome,
Way to
man.
go, man.
Good for him, man. Good for him, man. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. TJ Doheny versus Ryohei Takashi, IBF junior featherweights. Doheny wins via stoppage in the 11th. It was just okay for me. You know, I mean, it was just okay. It was a fight that needed to be stopped. Now, you look at this fight because there was some protests afterwards. I think Brian Kenny, the moron, said that, oh, no, there's no way they should have stopped this fight. Yeah, they should have stopped the fight. This was a complete whitewash. That guy was there to be had. I mean, he was going to get hurt. As opposed in the Andrade fight, where the guy could have finished out 20 seconds. Granted, the referee doesn't need to know the time, but yeah, I mean, it was, you know, just two bad stoppages.
Brian Kenny's nuts. He wants fucking blood.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He absolutely does.
He hates when fucking referees stop the fight. It's like, dude,
Yeah.
what do you want?
Yeah, right?
What do you want to see in there?
Right. Look, you already know who won the fight. I mean, who's winning the fight and who's going to, you know, what are the chances that he lands a haymaker and knocks the other guy out? I mean, he's losing every round. You know? Amanda Serrano versus Eva Vorarlberger. Serrano wins her 7th title in 7 different weight classes as she knocks out Vorarlberger in the first round. It was very quick, too. It was a very quick knockout. Beeb, 7 titles in 7 different weight classes.
Amazing.
Right? 7 in 7.
How many does Cecilia
Why are we not
Breakhouse-
talking about her?
How many titles does Cecilia Breakhouse have?
I don't know. She's got a lot. She's got every belt in the welterweight division, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, like, as far as weight classes, that I don't know. But they're talking about, go ahead.
Not like Serrano, though. Serrano's got
No.
a ton of.
Yeah, no. I don't know how you can.
The only one that's done better is Manny Pacquiao. Eight championships and 8 different weight classes.
Well, the problem I have with the Manny Pacquiao thing is they count as ring titles, they count as IBO.
Yeah, that's all
They count-
trumped up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they count as IBO titles. And again, I mean, it's. I'm not jumping on you for saying it because it's constantly being repeated, but
Okay.
I don't think it's as legitimate as people say. No disrespect to Manny Pacquiao. He's still
Yeah.
a legend.
Okay. All right.
They don't even have to embellish it, and he's still got a great career. You know what I mean? I mean, he's still got something that nobody else will, you know.
But if you want to start counting ring titles and IBO
Yeah.
titles and shit.
Okay. I got
Right.
you, Beeb. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, the junior welterweight title was an IBO title, and then his featherweight title was a ring title. So it's
Right.
Okay. All right.
kind of bullshit.
Okay.
All
right.
Chris Algieri versus Danny Gonzalez. Algieri wins a lackluster decision over Danny Gonzalez. Scores were 98-92, 97-93, and 96-94. Yeah, Algieri did not look good in this, and they were talking about him like actually getting a title shot in this after this fight. I'm like, you're crazy.
Now, here's what I don't understand about Algieri. Of course, he made a good living when he fought the first time around. I mean, he was involved in the fight with Pacquiao, and of course he won the fight before that. And then he leaves the sport, works in Danny Jacobs' training camp as his nutritionist for like 3 to 4 fights, and then all of a sudden he decides to come back and fight. I don't get that.
Well, I think his intention was always to come back, but you know, he wanted to take a break.
Okay.
I'm not sure. were you under the impression that he's just going to be a full-time like nutritionist?
Well, I thought he was making a decent living, and
Yeah.
why bother?
I mean, he does have the credentials just to do that. I mean, because he does have the degree in dietetics, so he could probably do that and make a good living.
And Danny Jacobs said he was the best nutritionist he had because he's a fighter. He understands what fighters have to do. He credited Algieri for helping him get in great shape for all of his fights.
Yeah.
If I'm Chris, I make a living doing that. I don't fight anymore, but that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently he's very good at what he does. I mean, he really is. Apparently he's very good. All right, let's talk about the ESPN Plus card. I don't want to spend too much time on this because they were just, I don't know, wasn't great. Brian Jennings versus Oscar Rivas. Heavyweights, Rivas scores a 12th round TKO. I heard it was I didn't actually see it. I saw highlights of it. I heard it was a pretty boring fight up until that point. And I saw highlights of the Shakur Stevenson and Jesse Rosales fight. Shakur Stevenson wins via 4th round TKO, and then proceeded to call out Josh Warrington. Beeb, is this a mistake?
No, I mean, you can't fault the guy for wanting big fights.
Do you think he's ready for him?
No. But you know what? Credit to him. If he thinks he is, that says a lot about him.
Well, Bob Arum's willing to make that fight, so apparently they think he's ready. So
Okay.
There you go. I don't know about
luck,
that,
Bob.
but good luck with that one.
Do you think he's ready?
No, I don't. And I love Shakur Stevenson, man. But I don't think he. Unless they see something in there that they think he can exploit, or they think he's tailor made. Again, we always talk about matchmaking here. Unless they see something that's tailor made, I don't know. I don't see it, but
Well, how many fights does Shakur Stevenson have? Like 13?
Something like that. I mean, he's pretty young, right?
Yeah.
So I don't
What's
know.
the rush?
I think he's only like 21, 22, something
Yeah.
like that.
He's knocked a couple of guys out now, and I think they think he's getting his power and this and that. I don't know, man.
Well, Andre Ward's his manager, so he may pump the brakes on that.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Andre Ward knows what he's doing. So, so if Andre Ward, if he goes ahead and fights him, then Andre Ward sees something, and then hey, smart guy, Andre Ward. All right, let's talk about the upcoming fights before we go to the phones here. January 26th, Robert. Saturday?
That's Saturday. That's
perfect.
That's next Saturday.
All right, DAZN. On DAZN, Beeb's favorite channel. Jaime Munguia versus Takashi Inoue for the Munguia's WBO junior middleweight title. Jesus Rojas versus Zhu Khan. 12 rounds for Rojas's WBA regular featherweight title. What is that even? What is a regular? Is there an irregular title? I hate that. I hate that they even still have these. Weren't they looking at slimming down their whole thing where they just wanted like a champion, one champion, and that's what they were doing the WBA?
But
it's a fucking joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like I've always said, WBA is a fucking idiot. That's correct.
That's correct.
Nobody says it better than Robbie, I tell you that. All right. January 26th, Saturday, in New York on Fox Sports. The Return, Keith Thurman.
Now this is the big Fox, guys.
Okay. The Return of Keith Thurman and Josecito. He's going to face Josecito Lopez. 12 rounds for Thurman's WBA welterweight title. The fact that he still holds that WBA welterweight title is a mystery. Adam Konoski versus Gerald Washington, 10 rounds heavyweights. That ought to be a pretty good fight.
Yes, that should be. Yep.
Let's see who else. Gary Antoine Russell, Gary Russell's brother, who they're all named Gary Russell, versus Roberto Almazan, 6 rounds junior welterweights. Gary Antonio Russell versus Lucas Baez, 8 rounds bantamweights. But no sign of Mr. Gary Russell, who's the main fighter. Where has he been? What's going on with that guy?
He only fights once a year.
If that, January 26th, Saturday in Uncasville, Connecticut. I don't know that this will be televised, but it's a fight going on. Cletus Selden versus Adam Mate, 10 rounds junior welterweights. Let's see what else we got here. I think that might be it. Maybe. Yeah. Let me see, 27th. Yeah, that's it. And also, too, this is interesting. Let me see. January 31st. When is January 31st, Robert?
That would be a Thursday.
Okay. So next Thursday on the 31st, UFC Fight Pass has a card going on. So if you have UFC Fight Pass, you can watch it here. Aston Palikte versus Jose Martinez, 12 rounds for the WBO Junior Bantamweight. It's a WBO Junior Bantamweight eliminator. So, and, you know, not too many names on there that we recognize.
I don't think there'll be too many fights the following week because February 30th is the Super Bowl. I doubt they'll be any on the 1st and 2nd. So.
Well, you know what they should do is they should put it on the 1st. I mean, that's the big day. The Super Bowl, you know, the Super Bowl cards. Those are the big ones. All right, so let's talk about real quick. Keith Thurman, Josecito Lopez. Does Lopez have any chance here?
No. I don't think so. I think Josecito Lopez was chosen for a reason. You know, so Keith Thurman could get work in, if you want to call it that. And I think this fight ends rather quickly. And I'm very disappointed in Keith. He takes 2 years off, and this is the fight he takes back. You know, and the fact that this is going to be on the major Fox TV network, this is another horrible display. You know, if Keith is going to be a legitimate champion, he needs to fight somebody better than Josecito Lopez.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, we'll give him a pass on this one, and we'll see what happens after this fight.
Yeah. Hopefully it's not another tune-up, or you know, hopefully it's somebody good.
I want to mention one thing about Fox, though. I ran into a kid in the gym that's a good friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a little while, and he's a casual boxing fan, and he just was telling me how he's like, boxing's starting to make a comeback now. Huh? It's getting real big again. And I said, why? He goes, well, you know, I was watching the football games on Fox, and all I see is these commercials about fights. He was talking about Mikey Garcia versus Errol Spence. He's talking about this Broner fight. So I think it's PBC did a beautiful thing by using this Fox as a platform and getting a deal with Fox, because a lot of people that watch football are stumbling across these PBC commercials, and I think they can grab a lot of these football fans into these big fights, especially this Errol Spence fight that's going to be in Dallas too. I mean, I think this is the way to go. I think having fights on regular Fox is probably even better than having it on ABC or NBC, because everybody has Fox. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even people that have satellites, like not everyone that has satellites has PBC and stuff, but they have Fox, I believe. So I think Fox is probably the greatest platform you could do and use if you're going to want to try to expand this sport on a widespread level.
I love what they're doing. I love what they're doing, man.
If you want to bring in the casual boxing fan, though, Beeb, why put a matchup on Fox TV with Josecito Lopez and Keith Thurman?
Because it brings in the casual boxing fan.
I'll explain to you what's going to happen, Robbie.
Okay.
You have people who don't know who the hell Keith Thurman is, and they don't know who the hell Josecito Lopez is.
Right.
But what they are going to see is they're going to see a guy like Josecito Lopez throw everything he has at Keith Thurman, and they're going to see a guy like Keith Thurman who's going to be so skilled, and they're going to see a beautiful boxing exposition from Keith Thurman. So they're going to get a very entertaining fight. Let's take away the cast of characters here, and let's look at the movie. It's an exciting movie.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be and I look for Keith Thurman to win. I look for him to possibly finish Lopez, honestly. But
definitely.
I think that, and that's why they put this kind of fight on there, because people like to see knockouts, and it's exciting, you know.
Well, I would be shocked if this goes past 4 rounds.
Well, let's see if Lopez can pull together one of those Victor Ortiz type performances that he pulled off.
Right.
He was in that Berto fight before he got stopped. That was a good fight. He was winning rounds in that fight before he got stopped.
Yeah.
So he can make this interesting as long as it lasts. If it lasts.
All right, let's go to the phones here. 1111. You're live.
You're on the air.
111. You're live.
I'm just listening.
Normally 111 sometimes means overseas. That's
I don't know.
Probably Robbie.
It's probably Robert. All right, we're going to move on here.
No, it ain't me.
Probably Robbie on his landline.
It's
I'm already on my landline.
It's Robert on his landline. You're so mean to Robert. Why are you so mean to Robert?
Because I love him.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, B, where do the best calls come from?
Oh, here we go. Ohio runs boxing.
Ohio, baby.
They used to be from
Enough
Ohio.
of your gas, Beeb. It was a rhetorical question. The bottom line is that everybody knows that the best callers come from Ohio. 614, you're live.
Ohio runs boxing. How you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's happening, man?
We're good.
Oh man, what a night! What a night! First of all, I want to jump into last week when I was breaking down this fight. Beeb said last week that it sounded like I was trying to protect Broner when I was simply breaking down what damn near pretty much happened last night. Now let me rewind what he said. Beeb, you said that you actually predicted that Manny, they would throw the towel in.
I said they could
in this fight.
I said they could.
Yeah,
but I also said he was going to go into. Wait a minute. I also said he was going to go into retreat mode. Did he go into retreat mode and survival mode?
Yeah, retreat mode. Okay.
Did he do that? Did he do that?
And I said you can't convince me that Manny can knock out a guy. Don't take that many risks. Manny has, out of the last 15 fights, he only has stopped one.
You're right.
So, with that being said, the odds of that happening was not going to happen.
I agree.
So, that was just simple. Even when I broke down, I actually went back and on my Facebook, brought the Joshua Clottey fight out, where Joshua Clottey was in there, shelled up, and wasn't taking risks. And this was a prime Manny Pacquiao.
I agree.
Okay?
I agree.
And,
I'll give you that.
And his punch, and he does not throw accurate punches. Manny will throw a bunch of punches, and then some will land. Manny is not always accurate on his punches, but if he keeps throwing, he's going to eventually land. And I felt like that's what was going to happen in this fight. Now, I was going with Manny leading all the way to the fight, because even when I called last week, I told you I had Manny winning.
Yeah, he did.
And I apologize Manny was going to be hitting him
Ohio,
with a lot of shots that won't be landing.
I hate to interrupt you. Let me just jump in. Let me just. I apologize for interrupting you. Let me just jump in one thing. I agree with you. I agree with you 110%. I think the discrepancy we had was, I thought the fight was going to be a blowout, and I got the sense that you thought that maybe it wasn't going to be a blowout. And I think our definition, you were saying that Pacquiao was like I was saying that Pacquiao was going to beat the shit out of him, put a beating on him. When I was saying that I thought that Pacquiao would beat him soundly, like a 10 rounds to 2, 9 rounds to 3 type fight. And I got the sense where you thought that the fight was going to be competitive. I'm not saying you said that, but that's the sense that I was getting. So that's where we had this discrepancy. I thought that the fight was going to be a blowout on the scorecards. And I didn't
think it would be. Yeah, I didn't think I could have seen, but see, my thing I was trying to say was I could see Manny winning unanimous decision just like he did Joshua Clottey. But like I said, Broner takes pride. He has a chin, and he takes pride. He has bigger fighters. He takes pride in not getting knocked out instead of winning. I mean, after the fight, his Instagram, his first picture is him showing his face, saying, "Did it look like he beat my ass, bruh? You lost. It doesn't matter. You lost." And that's what I was saying last week. I've been watching Broner, and I hear a lot of people that was saying Broner has been he hasn't been the same since Madonna. And I said, wrong. He's been this way before Madonna. He's been the same guy. The only difference is at 135, he did not have to throw. The guys will outwork him at 135, but he had power. So you can throw 300 punches to his 60, but I'm winning because I'm knocking you out at the end of the night. So he was comfortable fighting that way. I've been watching Broner, so a lot of people can't tell me that. He's the only time you will see Broner let his hands go, you can look at the highlight reels. It's when the guys defensively shelled up, and they cannot time Broner because he's swinging and they're hurt. Probably get hurt from a shot. So they're covering up, and then Broner looks like he's just this invincible guy. I like Broner. I've been liking Broner, but he just don't pull the trigger, and that's why I felt like this fight would be similar to a Joshua Clottey versus Manny Pacquiao. But one guy is defensively sound because Manny, he can throw punches from a distance. Manny can jump from a distance, and Broner has to let his hands go when he gets close in range. And Paul Malignaggi said the same exact thing. You know, he said this in his breakdown video on Showtime, and I'm like, I've been saying that. So that's just pretty much what I was getting to those breakdowns. I didn't see that knockout happening. It was not coming.
Here's two differences between this fight and the Clottey fight. Joshua Clottey wasn't backing up at all in that fight. Number one, and number two, and Joshua Clottey wasn't hurt. Adrien Broner was hurt at least 3 times, pretty good in this fight. And one time I thought he was in trouble. So
in the 7th round, he did get clipped. He did get clipped in the 7th round. To me, I was confused. The game plan. I thought Broner, he normally takes that stance where he tries to dog walk the opponent, because that's why I was giving him a little bit of a chance. I like this style. Now he didn't have to throw as many punches, but he had to throw some, but land. But at the same time, come forward, bully Manny a little bit. Stop sitting back there waiting. He was almost like a Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter, where Danny was just waiting to counter. He's waiting there, and it's Sean who's the aggressor, but not landing the more effective shots, in my opinion.
So do you think
it was almost similar?
Do you think Manny Pacquiao could beat a guy like Danny Garcia, a guy like Sean Porter?
I think he beat. You said the same thing I said when I was talking about Manny's KO streak, where he only had one knockout in the last 15. Danny Garcia has shown that he has problems with boxers, and I think he will have problems just with Manny, different ankles and stuff. He will be there waiting, trying to counter, just like Broner. It will be the same thing. Now I think he beat Danny. He beat some of the top welterweights, but Sean Porter, hell no. Sean Porter is a bully, and he's going to do exactly what Jeff Horn did, but 3 times better. 3 times better than what Jeff Horn did.
That's fair. That's fair.
And he's going to smother Manny at times. Manny ain't going to be able to. He's a bigger guy, and Manny, Manny is not the same. And even with the fight, I agree with Eric. Manny looked good, but he didn't look great. He was able to just get off shots and everything like that, just throwing it, blah, blah. But it wasn't like, oh, man, amazing.
Well, Adrien Broner was tailor-made for Pacquiao. You'd agree with that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that's the reason why he took the fight. Now they say that he'd take on Spence and he has no. I think he just I don't even believe him. But
no.
He ain't fighting Spence.
No.
No, he's not going to do that.
There ain't no way in hell he's fighting. He ain't fighting Errol Spence, man.
No.
They gave him $20 million for this fight. If they fight Errol Spence, they have to give him $40 million.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. And the Rasheed Warren, man, that was pretty much like the same fight too. Just like,
same thing.
Man, I didn't see Rasheed Warren fight with urgency. Like, he didn't even fight like he was losing. Like, he wasn't like he knew he was down, but it was just like, I'm just gonna cruise and take this loss, man. That's like, what?
Yeah, that was crazy, wasn't
right.
it?
It's I hate seeing that because there's so many fighters who don't get opportunities that would take advantage of those moments, And it's just like, man, come on, you gotta at least take a risk, man. You gotta at least go out there and let your hands go. You see these videos with these guys with the pad work with the trainers, and they just got quick. Rasheed got quick hand speed, but it's like, what's all that pad work and everything with the trainers when you're not even letting them go when you're in the ring? You know, it's like
because the guy with the pads ain't throwing anything back. You know.
Right, but you know sometimes, but at the same time, you learn off of that too because you can learn off countering. It's almost similar to Jermell Charlo when he hit J-Rock. That was like a pad touch when he touched me, turned, and he threw that hook and hit Jermell. You learn that. I mean, that's technique at the same time. But I didn't never see him stand in the pocket and really try to let it go. And when he did, he would get hit. So I think he was getting hurt too. Didn't show as much, but he was getting hurt too. So sometimes when you start getting hurt, you don't you be on the more defensively and not letting your hands go. So, but that was the night, man. And I think Eric, did you see that video I had on my Facebook wall?
Which one?
The Boys in the Hood.
Stupid. I did. I saw it. Yeah, it was funny. That's pretty much how I felt too. I was like, "You serious, man?"
The whole hood turned their back on him yesterday.
I remember.
What a moronic thing to say. I'm doing this for the hood. Come on, what is wrong with you, bro?
The whole hood turned their back on him.
Oh yeah, absolutely, dude. They did. But you know, the video I had on my wall was Cuba Gooding Jr. on Boys in the Hood.
That was
great. He was just mad because after the cops just pick with him, he started swinging and punching. That was me. I was like, that was me when I said that it was tied up with two Ohio fighters losing the same night.
Yeah,
and
that's funny.
It was funny.
That's it, man.
That sure is funny, man.
And Ohio, before I let you go, I just want to apologize. I just want to apologize in advance for Beeb's actions last week. Insinuating that, I don't like any of my Ohio any callers, but especially the ones from Ohio, especially being taken to the woodshed by Beeb. I'm just saying,
B-Town gives Ohio love.
I had to defend myself on that because I'm like, I think we got on the wrong foot and they misunderstood me because
I totally misunderstood you. I totally misunderstood you because I thought you were saying the fight was going to be competitive, man. I just didn't think it would.
All right, Ohio, we're going to get moving here.
But y'all have a good one, man.
All right, man.
All right, be good.
All right, appreciate it, man. Yep. All right, guys. We got a lot of callers on the line. We got about a half hour left before we get out of here, and we still got to get to the news. All right, so just make sure to kind of keep it to the point and stuff like that. When we do the calls and stuff, keep it to the point. Also, too, before we go to the next call, let's see here. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. All right, go to beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com and subscribe, and also subscribe to us on iTunes. We have Skype coming in very, very soon. So that's something we're doing a lot to try to improve our podcast, try to improve the product, that kind of thing. Do a lot for you guys. We never ask you guys for money. That's just the way it is. I don't feel like you should have to pay for me, pay to listen to me or Beeb or Robert. Robert, you should have to pay for, but the rest of us, not really.
Oh, no, not really.
But I would, if you guys, like I said, man, the best thing you can do for us is go to iTunes, leave us a good review, subscribe to us there. Give us a thumbs up in the chat. If you're in the chat, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel.
This is no $75 pay-per-view podcast here. This is free, brother.
Don't give me any ideas. Don't give me any ideas. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our next call here.
PBC in the house.
Punch stats. Punch.
The zone. The zone.
Punch stats.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt for you, Beeb. It's gonna.
What's up, punch stats?
I hate punch stats, but let's go to the punch stats.
Hey, what's up?
I hate punch stats, but let's go to the punch stats.
What's up, punch stats?
That was a classic one.
You were sitting there clicking the clicker yesterday at counting the shots.
Do you guys know CompuBox has a YouTube channel? The guy does podcasts every week with bunch of boxers and shit. You guys should follow the channel. It's pretty good.
They should be shut down.
It's called CompuBox TV.
Be shut down. Anyone that
What did you guys think about Rossi Warren, man? I think Rossi Warren is just stuck in the amateur style of things. I think he's just still stuck. He still hasn't transitioned to a full pro. He's just fucking circles around and looks at his opponent and acts like he's doing something, but he really doesn't, just like Broner. And Broner also has that kind of an amateur style still, like where he doesn't really try to dominate unless he's fighting a total fucking tomato can, you know? If he's fighting somebody on his level, he just tries to do that pity pat shit and all the screams as punches out. I don't know.
Well, I disagree. I think they have the opposite of an amateur style. They have the opposite of an amateur style because an amateur throws a lot of punches. They don't.
But they never step on the gas. Like, I don't know. They just throw they just throw enough to score points. That's the amateur style.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the amateurs, you only have 3 rounds to get the job done, so you have to throw punches, or you're not going to win. You don't have time in the amateurs to fight methodical like that.
Yeah, but this is their version of the amateur style. They just transitioned into this bullshit style where they don't do enough work in any fucking fight.
So you're saying they don't commit to their punches or their offense?
Yeah, unless they're fighting a total tomato can that has no fucking power that can hurt them, you know. Unless otherwise they're just happy to stay on the outside, try to act like they won the fight or act like it's close. But at least Rocky Warren was honest. He said I lost clearly, so you know. And that fucking Linares, man, that guy, you know, he's been getting overhyped because he's the fucking golden boy for years now. I'm glad his hype train has finally fucking ended. That guy was never fucking great on any fucking level to me. I never saw him be great. I don't even know what were his great wins. Like, what was his best win? Can somebody refresh my fucking memory? What was Linares' best win that made him so fucking great?
Well,
Anybody on the panel?
He's a 3-division champion, so.
There's always that.
Best win? I'm just asking. I just want to know. What's his best win.
I don't think he sucks.
Can anybody tell me? Robbie, can you tell me what's his best win?
Luke Campbell was a good win. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever had like a real marquee win. No. Who do you beat?
People are fucking giving Lomachenko credit for dominating him or beating him, and
he beat Anthony Crawler, didn't he?
He beat Anthony Crawler. He beat Anthony Crawler. He beat Luke Campbell. But
yeah, those are pretty big wins.
Tank Davis was fucking ragdoll Crawler in like 3 fucking rounds.
Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
But the problem with Linares was early in his career, he fought in Japan a lot, so he didn't really have any high-profile fights, when he was first coming up. You make a good
10 years ago.
You make a good point. No, he fought in Japan for a long time though. That's a great portion of his career.
But Beeb, what do you think his best win is, Beeb? Can you tell me? Can anybody, Eric? You're talking. Eric is running his mouth over saying coulda, shoulda. He still can't name his best win.
Who's Tank's best win? Who's Tank's best win?
Huh?
You always go on about Tank Davis coulda did this. He coulda did that. He doesn't fight. He's not fighting, son. Who's he fighting?
Go look at Lomachenko's face. He's still wearing shirts.
Come on, son.
His eyes are still busted up, motherfucker.
No, they're not. Come on, son.
You guys overhype everybody Loma beats, and you guys underhype everybody.
And well, I tell you what, when it becomes time for Gervonta Davis, we'll overhype him too.
No, he doesn't need overhype. He's pretty.
When he fights Lomachenko, we'll overhype him too. How about that?
And people like Robbie or people on Twitter will say Myers is not a good fight. He's moving up. I think Myers is a better fighter than Pedraza. He's got better wins.
No.
I don't think Pedraza or Linares had any good wins. Eric or Robbie still haven't named Linares' best win, and neither has.
We've given you a couple of names. And they were marking their good names.
Who?
He
doesn't want to listen, so I'm not going to repeat it.
No, he doesn't have any signature wins.
No, I'm just saying. Who's the best name you think? Can you tell me who the best name is?
We already gave you the net. We already gave it to you. We're not going to go back over it. Why are we talking about Linares anyway? He was blown out in 1 round. What exactly do you want to prove here?
So you can expose Loma, you know?
You want to do this so you can expose Loma, who doesn't have a fight lined up.
Hey, Beeb, so for you,
you're a moron.
We're talking about a paper.
Right, you're an absolute moron. You call up with nonsense every week.
Hey, Robbie, did you pull up Linares' best video? Can you tell me is it Crawler or what?
Probably Luke Campbell. In recent years, probably Luke Campbell. I'm a big
that's right. Luke Campbell he was definitely the most skilled guy. You're right. Yeah, he was the tallest guy probably. He looked like a solid fighter. I remember that fight. Yeah, that probably is his best win. And what do you think, Beeb? Luke Campbell against Tank. What would happen in that fight?
I'd pick Tank.
Yeah, I mean, Tank. Did you see what Tank tweeted last night? He said I'm calling Al tomorrow. I want to fight Manny. I can guarantee you, Tank would do better against Manny than Broner did. He would fucking rock Manny. I'm telling you.
Guess who else?
What anybody says.
Guess who else Linares lost to? Remember that fight, the Antonio DeMarco fight?
DeMarco?
Yeah, that's right. He did lose to him.
Yeah.
Like first round, didn't he? First round?
No, because he was winning the whole fight, and then his face got busted up, and they stopped it on cuts.
Yeah, no, Linares always cuts.
He's been knocked out before, also, hasn't he? He's been knocked out before, also.
Oh yeah, he's been knocked out He's been knocked out 5 times. He's been knocked out 5 times.
Guys, what did you think about I forgot to ask you, Brandon Figueroa, the way he beat that Flores guy? Daniel Ramon went like 12 rounds with him. I was kind of surprised about Brandon Figueroa. What did you guys think?
He blew him out in 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a good fight when it happens.
They announced Daniel Ramon's next fight, right? It's a unification with somebody?
Yeah, who was that with?
Yeah, it's some guy, Eddie signed, right?
I think so, man. I can't remember who it was.
Dude from somewhere.
Was it Ruiz? Hugo Ruiz?
Yeah, it's like a weird name.
Hugo Ruiz? Was that it?
I don't know.
Something like I don't know. It's just.
I can't remember.
A no-name dude.
Or TJ Doheny.
Also,
It was one of those guys.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Also, do we know anything about the Thurman or Tank and Mars undercards, or no?
I haven't heard anything.
No.
Robert? I mean, Eric?
Well,
No, we just read the undercard, though.
Yeah, we read the undercard that they're going to show next week on Fox.
Also, Robbie, you were saying why put a Josecito on the fans when you're trying to attract casuals? They don't fucking know who Josecito is or fucking who is. They're going to watch regardless. So that's why.
Thurman's going to blow him out, though.
Yeah, but he needs that. I mean, he doesn't even know if he can fight anymore. Probably he needs some confidence, you know. But that fight's going to do. Also, I was on Twitter on the Fox Sports PR page. The Fox Sports Florida station, like they're tweeting about this fight. Thurman was at the fucking hockey game and the local Fox station was covering about this fight. So that's the power of Fox. All the local stations around every fucking state are going to cover their fights. Fucking Adam Konaki was at the NASDAQ the other day. The Fox Sports was tweeting about that. So, this is the kind of thing they're doing with this deal. Nobody really talks about it. I don't think
nobody talks about it because it's not interesting. I mean, you're the only one that follows every move of the PBC. And everybody says they're good. They're good. I mean, what else do you want?
Every move of the fucking WWE. Why wouldn't I follow the
I never mentioned the WWE on here.
This is the only sport I watch.
I don't even watch it. So what?
I don't even watch NFL anymore. That just bores me. That's the only sport I watch, so I follow that shit. But what did you get? How did you score it, Eric?
I had a 116, 112, 116, 112 for Pacquiao.
Just fucking generous. How many rounds did you give Broner? How many is that?
That's 4. 4 rounds.
That's 4.
4? That's really generous.
That's absolutely that's what I said. Yeah, it's very generous.
No, I gave him 2 rounds.
Dude, Showtime was taking some petty ass shots. Like they panned the camera to his family. He's like, "Oh, there's Broner's family." They weren't clapping until the camera panned to them. Fucking Marvin.
I saw that. Yeah, I didn't really care for that either. Yeah, I thought they were kind of petty on that.
Yeah, why are you taking shots at his family, man?
Right.
And also, Beeb, do you want to remind everybody that the article I sent you with all the fucking bullshit Bernstein has tweeted over the years about Broner?
Bernstein was saying that Broner's got to worry about staying out of jail and shit like that. I mean, he was taking some personal shots against him.
He's still right. I mean, all he was doing is stating facts. I mean, listen, I like Adrien Broner. You guys know I like Adrien Broner. Al Bernstein at the press, he didn't deserve that. That was just a classless move.
No, he didn't.
He shouldn't have said bitch ass. He shouldn't have said bitch ass nigga. He should have just read those tweets out and be like, "This is." What do you think about that, Al? I mean, you should have just read those out.
That would have been a better way to handle it. That would have been a better way to handle it. But yeah. I mean,
he could have said, "Why are you talking about me going to jail? That has nothing to do with boxing." That's what he should have said to him.
Yeah, absolutely. That would have been a great way to handle it.
Beeb, he only says that kind of shit about guys like Tank or Broner. He would never say that about some Mexican fighter or something.
I disagree with that.
I
disagree with that.
Fucking inner city kids.
No.
Because he knows nobody gives a shit about these inner city kids. The reporters aren't going to stand up for them, and he knows that shit. Nobody's going to defend Broner or Tank, so I can get away with it. He would never say some shit about like that about fucking Kovalev or something. You would never hear that. I can guarantee you that.
Nah, I don't know about that.
The whole fucking media world is fucking sweeping under the rug that fucking piece of shit punched that woman and broke her jaw.
He didn't break her
Nobody
jaw.
talks about that.
Where did you see he broke her jaw?
Yeah, he did. That's what I heard.
That's what you heard?
Big Bear, bitch. Don't be fucking arguing with me. I got sources in Big Bear.
You got sources in Big Bear.
Abel Sanchez called me personally with the X-rays. He sent me the X-rays. Don't be lying.
Keep dreaming there, Jason. Keep dreaming.
All right, man. We're gonna get going here.
Kathy Dua canceled the fight with Marcus Browne, so she should be canceling this fight on ESPN too. Remember?
All right, man. We're gonna get running, Jason.
Cancel that Browne fight.
See ya.
All right, guys.
He's a trip, man.
Where did he come up with this crap, man?
I don't know.
Jeez.
I don't know. Let's see here. Area code 718. 718, you're live.
Suleiman. What's up, man?
Suleiman. How are you?
How you doing? Yeah, so I seen the fight, and the fight was pretty good. I mean, Manny Pacquiao, he's older, but he's very cagey, and he's game. And also, Broner is a game dude, man. He's very doable. He impressed the shit out of me. He had a hell of a chin. You could tell that he's not in the same world class level as a Pacquiao, because Pacquiao, he was trying to duck some of his punches in one of the later rounds, and Pacquiao still nabbed him with a hook, with a right hook, but he didn't drop him. He made him do like a drunk dance, like a punch drunk dance, but he stabilized. He has hell of a great balance, man. I mean, in this fight, even though he lost, we got to see Adrien Broner new boxing resume. We got to see that if the kid really starts to establish a jab and stops admiring his work and waits a couple of more punches in his fights, he'd be very effective. The problem with Ohio-style fighters like him and Rashid Warren, like Eric was saying before, it's not that they have an amateur career. It's that they don't waste punches. They're like a la Juan Laporte style. Juan Laporte was like that when he was coming up. And the reason they do that is because they're real small, they're bulky, and they're fighting bigger men. Because Pacquiao, you could tell Pacquiao was the bigger man in that fight. Even though Adrian's only 5'4", he matches him in the weight and the muscularity, but he's a smaller fighter. And he still has a lot to learn. You get to see it in the fight. I mean, at the end, he was upset, but when they did the post thing, you see like they cheered him up. Maybe they gave him some money or something, because he changed his whole style. He was partying. He was joking with the crowd. He was telling people he had the mic. People was trying to get on his nerves, but it wasn't affecting him. Even a lady I never seen before was asking him for an outfit. He said he was gonna buy her outfit and everything. So, and then the one that showed the wear and tear in the fight was Manny Pacquiao, because it's true what Adrien Broner was saying. He was very defensive. He had not even a scratch in his fight. It looks like Adrien Broner, if he trains for it does a 2-month training camp, he could fight in 2 months. He didn't take that much wear and tear. Manny Pacquiao has no power, man. He couldn't finish him. He had his chances in the fight. He didn't hurt him at all. I think the one that learned from this fight was Adrien Broner. I think Adrien Broner is going to improve much more. He even said his training camp was better. He's working with a good trainer. The trainer was saying nothing but good things. And also in the fight, you could see that he's waiting to throw that right hand and knock Pacquiao out. But the thing is that Pacquiao didn't stay planted enough for him to catch him. Because all through the fight, Broner was teasing him with that jab, that teasing jab. I don't know if you saw that fight and you saw that. He was teasing him with that little like that pity pat thing, but he's just waiting for Manny to open up and catch him with that ferocious right hand and knock him out. But the thing that didn't take place at all, Manny didn't give him the opportunity, and that's what happened. But at the end of the day, Broner, like he said, bro, people are gonna pay to watch him fight again. The guy, to me, even though he spazzed out with Jim Gray, because Jim Gray is sarcastic, bro. Not for nothing, Jim Gray, they should change it, bro. He's a sarcastic. He annoys a lot of fighters, bro, because the kid fought his heart out, and he comes with some stupid sarcastic thing. I would have been like that too, man. He has problems with these people. This kid trained his heart out. He fought his heart out, and they come up with some stupid sarcastic thing. That he was waiting to like you guys were saying before the fight took place. You guys were saying that he's gonna look for opening with his right hand and tried to create an opportunity, but that opportunity didn't come. I notice all PBC fighters are doing that. I mean, they all look for a power punch to like change the trend of the fight. Deontay Wilder, him, even Rashid Warren, all these fighters. The only one that's been accomplishing it all the time in all his fights is Gervonta Davis. Because in that fight with Jesus Cuellar, right? Jesus Cuellar was boxing pretty good at the beginning, but when this guy started nailing him with power punches to the body, he finished him. So I don't think it's the problem is with AB. I think it's the problem with PBC. I think the problem is with PBC. I think it's the problem with the whole PBC thing. If Adrien Broner, what he got to do is distance himself from that a little bit, and I think Adrien Broner will improve much more. Like, isolate himself from the other PBC fighters. Adrien Broner, he has a fantastic personality. People pay to see him fight. I think he became more popular. That place was packed. If anybody saw the fight, you could see the crowd that Adrien Broner brings. So Ohio didn't lose. I don't think Eric lost in this fight. I think Eric won. I think the winner in this fight was Adrien Broner. I think you won here, Eric, because you was behind your fighter. I don't think you should quit on that. I think AB is going to improve in this. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. And you guys have a great day. Like and subscribe to my channel also. Thank you.
Absolutely. Suleiman, Suleiman on go search Suleiman out on YouTube and go get him. Beeb, I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of calls through the years. That might have been the best one I've ever heard.
Good call.
Great call. You got to give him due, right?
Shout out to Suleiman.
All right. We're going across. Well, I know you don't think so. But you live in California. You don't get the news like on a regular basis either. All right.
Stop being a hater, Rob.
Yeah, stop being a hater. All right. All the way from overseas in the UK, Hamed, you're live.
Yes, how's it going, Eric? First time caller. You guys have a great show.
Oh, thank you so much, man.
I'm a big fan of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have a good podcast. I thought I'd just call in because I was just seeing you guys were live. I thought the fight, I don't know, I was kind of disappointed with Broner. I thought he didn't let his hands go. Like, I think he should have committed a bit more, but he probably would have got knocked out. So that was probably the main reason he didn't let his hands go. But I'm not too sure I agree with the last caller. I don't think Broner did himself any justice. I've seen him taking shots at Dan Raphael at the post-fight press conference. So, and he was argued with Jim Gray as well. This is probably one of the main reasons why we watch Broner. I kind of find him funny, but I could see why a lot of people don't like him when he's a turn-off. But as for the fight, he wasn't throwing enough punches. I don't know how he thought he won that fight. I thought he won about 2 rounds. So the judges...
That's all I gave him was 2 rounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I gave him the 11th and 3rd or 4th. I can't remember. I agree with you, Robbie. But even at 40, Pacquiao, I think, proved that he's an all-time great. Like, I was thinking about 10 years ago, I remember opening the pay-per-view between him and De La Hoya. This is not the same Pacquiao, but he's still good enough to beat Broner and outclass him. But I could see the decline. His timing is way off. And I think if he fights Errol Spence or Crawford, I think he will get probably beaten. But I'd like to see him fight someone like Keith Thurman because I think he's still good enough to give a lot of these guys trouble. But Broner, I'm not too sure if he'll be in another big fight on pay-per-view again because I don't know if a lot of people that paid for that fight would. Yeah.
No, Adrien Broner, I mean, he'll still fight, but he'll never be on a pay-per-view stage again. No.
Yeah, because that was disappointing. As a first pay-per-view, I thought they sold the fight well. The build-up and the hype around it was okay, and the fact that it was free over here in the UK was a good thing, but the actual fight, Broner just still let his hands go, and he was meant to look very bad as well. Like, for a guy about 10 years older than you, outworking you, out-hustling you, I think it maybe just came down to skill level, but Broner, to me, is a waste of talent. Like, he's a very talented guy, but it's just his mentality and his, I think, actions outside the ring have probably caught up with him because I think one of the guys was saying was Linares' his best win, but Linares is a very chinny guy. He still became a 3-weight champion and was the lineal consensus. I thought number one guy at lightweight. And Lomachenko moved up in weight, and he knocked him out in his first fight. With Broner, he's a 4-weight champion, but a lot of these belts were either vacant belts he won, and guys he beat weren't. That guy at featherweight, he beat super featherweight. I think I heard of his name, and his best win was arguably a split decision against Malnaghi. So Broner, I'm not too sure even if he'll go down as a real 4-weight champion. I think people will probably end up overlooking that. But for the undercard, I thought I was very surprised Marcus Browne actually boxed very well. I thought that was a really good fight on paper. The actual fight was a bit more of a chess match, but have you guys ever seen a cut that bad? I've never seen so much blood in the ring.
Oh, I've
just
seen
a couple of times.
Like
That's yeah.
Last night was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That was pretty bad. What do you think about Marcus Browne's chances against Gvozdyk?
I'm looking forward to that fight. I hope it happens.
I think they're very good. I think Marcus Browne against anybody is very good.
Yeah, I think that's a really good fight. This Jason guy who's calling Gvozdyk a hype job.
Jason calls everybody a hype job. If you're a regular listener to the show, you know that.
He's our comic relief, Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason's a hype job.
He's not a boxing fan. He's a PBC fan. So
yeah. He trolls on the internet all week and comes up with.
He's a hype job.
Yeah.
Did that guy even pay for the pay-per-view?
He was watching it on Twitter,
They don't really pay for fights. Yeah, a lot of them don't really pay for fights, but I was just going to say, I thought that was not a bad card. The Rashid Warren fight wasn't too bad. I just think he got out-hustled. I thought the first fight was kind of bad. I didn't really...
Yeah, it was...
That, but
it was bad.
Pretty bad, yeah. What do you guys think about Pacquiao next? Who do you guys want to see him fight next?
I don't know.
I tell you, I would love to see Pacquiao fight maybe Danny Garcia, maybe Keith Thurman, maybe Sean Porter, any of those guys.
Probably going to fight Mikey Garcia, win, lose, or draw with Errol Spence.
That might be interesting.
I like that fight. I got a feeling he might be fed to Spence, because I think if you want to make Spence a pay-per-view star, then Al Heyman might have got the guy in Pacquiao to kind of cross over, turn Crawford into a pay-per-view, not Crawford, Spence. I think Bob Arum was trying to do that with Crawford, but I don't think Pacquiao and his team wanted that fight. But I don't know how they're going to sell Khan and Crawford. That's a pay-per-view as well, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that's ridiculous.
And Khan, I'm not even sure in America if there's still people that are interested in his career. Like, over here, I think a lot of people have lost interest long ago. He's still a draw over here.
Well,
he done like a couple of million on... Yeah.
You're in the UK. Answer this question. Why is everybody in the UK excited about Khan and Brooke? That's all we hear over here.
No, not hardcores are not excited about that. Only casuals, only matchroom. Like, I think over in America you have PBC fans. Over here there's a matchroom cult, which made up of a lot of casuals. I think with PBC fans, some of them are hardcore fans. Well, majority probably are. I don't think many people are really even looking forward to that fight. I'm kind of glad that Crawford's fighting Khan, because I think with Khan and Brooke, I both think they're both washed up. With Crawford, I wanted him to fight someone who's a name. I think if he fought Collazo, he would have got absolutely ripped apart for fighting Collazo. So I'm kind of glad. But the only thing is, being on pay-per-view is a bit of a stretch. I have thought about going out to watch that fight, because even though I'm from the UK, I've never really seen Khan fight live. And Crawford, in my opinion, is the pound-for-pound number one fighter. Well, at least our worst case, number two. But a lot of people have lost interest in the fight with Brooke. I don't think people are really that impressed with Brooke begging for the fight, because Brooke should be fighting Jarrett Hurd or one of the top guys, 154. The fact that he's still asking for this fight, I think he's just trying to cash out and make big money fight. But I think Brooks' career all went wrong. I was there that night when he fought Golovkin, and I think that kind of ruined his career. And I think it was maybe the right thing in the short term, because I think it was a big money fight, and you can't really turn with stuff like that down. But the broken eye socket and all that, I think he was made to pay for him. I wanted to ask a question: is Golovkin with Loeffler still, or has he left? Because I'm not too sure what's going on with.
We don't know. It hasn't been reported yet. It hasn't been reported yet. So yeah, we're not 100% sure on what he's going to do.
Okay, all right, that's okay. All right, yeah. Thanks for taking the call.
Oh, thank you so much, man. We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Call in anytime. Thank you.
Awesome.
Have a good one.
Overseas, look at that. All right.
Beeb's getting his UK followers now. That's good.
There it is. All right. Remember, guys, we got some callers still left. Just remember to keep it kind of to the point here because we're running short on time here. Short on time. Stockton in the house.
Mr.
Nick
Paul.
Diaz in the house. 209, you're live.
Hey, what's up, Paul?
How you guys doing?
What's happening, man?
Oh, what's going on, Paul? How are you?
Yeah.
How are you, Paul?
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Good, Beeb. How you doing, man? How's Boston?
I'm all right. We got a little snow, but I'm doing okay. I shoveled out.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Since we only got a short period of time, I'll make it quick for you guys. But I appreciated Ahmed's call, but there's something in there that I'm glad he said that I've been trying to talk about a lot more, which is that how we as fans have adopted this promoter point of view instead of stating right now, because I know that some boxing people watch shows like these and they're listening to us. And instead of stating what we want, what we'll pay for, we'll sit there and badger each other and say, well, I don't know if that fight works because of all this promotional stuff. We don't even know what's going on behind the scenes. Yet, like right now when Ahmed called in, which again, it's not Ahmed, I'm just using him as an example, he's sitting there talking about like Errol Spence, how's he going to become a pay-per-view star? They got Manny Pacquiao there and all. It's like, why are we strategizing that? I'll tell you right now, I'm done with Manny. Manny does not belong in the conversation with what's going on at welterweight. We have
Thank you.
Keith Thurman, we have Errol Spence, we have Bud Crawford, now we have Mikey up there. He competes with, that division's stacked. They're starting to build momentum with these young guys. As a fan, I want to see the young guys fight each other. I don't want to see Manny recycled. I don't want to make excuses for how they can recycle Manny. It's over.
Well,
you know what
Paul.
Yes,
Paul, if you want Manny to be totally gone, then somebody has to beat him convincingly, and nobody's done that recently.
Thanks, Robert.
But see, I disagree, Robbie. I think if we stop talking, again, he can fight whoever. But I'm saying if we keep buying into that and keep justifying the fights that he's in, the least we could do is ignore it. So, for example, I don't want to talk about the Broner Pacquiao fight from last night. It was boring. If you watch the build-up as a hardcore, you could tell no one's heart was in it. Everyone knew it was a throwaway fight, and they're charging $75 for it. They had Marcus Browne and Badou Jack on the undercard, which is an amazing fight. Last week we had Caleb Plant and Jose Katagi in an amazing fight. Shakur Stevenson fought this weekend. Devin Haney fought last weekend. Yet we're wasting time talking about Broner and Pacquiao, which everyone would agree was a boring fight. It doesn't even matter who won or lost. It was a wasted fight. It doesn't mean anything. Marcus Browne and Badou Jack just
90 seconds
for the whole heavyweight division, and again, everyone's wasting their breath on Broner Pacquiao. To me, it's a waste of time. And again, I understand what you're saying, Robbie, but again, that's not up to us. We're fans. All we have to do is just continue to talk about what we like. So anyway, I'm going to get off that real quick because I know I don't have a lot of time. I want to talk about Shakur Stevenson. I think that he's ready for anyone. I've been watching him a lot. His ring IQ is incredible to go along
60 seconds.
Amazing, like quickness and athleticism. But the way his powers developed in such a short period of time, I don't know, he looks extremely advanced. And in fact, it reminds me of like what we were talking about before Caleb Plant fought Katagi. You guys were kind of wondering, like, well, he hasn't had a step-up fight. I think we have good enough eyes sometimes that we can see when someone's fighting well above their competition level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I was saying. I thought Plant was going. I'm not saying Shakur is at that. I could be completely wrong. But what I'm saying is when I watched Plant, I was like, man, he's doing things in there that are way above what the fighter he's fighting. You know what I'm saying? He's demonstrating skills that would obviously translate to a better competition, as it did against Uzcategui. And then
10 seconds.
There's one other thing. Oh, Eric, I want to get on you for a second.
Absolutely.
Okay, being a champion carries some responsibility, and part of that responsibility is that I have this written down. You have to act. What that means, Eric, is you have to be gracious in defeat. And it was very embarrassing to see a champion such as you, such a long-reigning one, try to talk his way out of the pine, try to make all these excuses, trying desperately to hold on to his belt. Eric, you're better than this, man. You're better than this.
I hate to say it, but I'm not.
Oh, see, you're tongue-tied. You know I'm making some good points here.
I got another counter. You're 100% right, and I'm not better than that. You know.
Paul, he's a fraud.
The bottom line is that, let me tell you this: everybody knows that I'm still the champ.
That's why he's in Ohio, guys.
That's right. That's how we do it here.
One more thing before we get off, because I just want to point something out that I'm kind of scared of. I think UFC is kind of there's like a weird, something's going on with boxing right now. You know, you can tell all these promoters are really trying to gobble people up. And I think there's some weird shift going on in the whole thing. You know, I think the Zone's trying to create a similar model. I think PBC is trying to create a similar model. And I think UFC sees the ability to have like a big crossover success. And to that point, I'm very concerned about the UFC model. And I don't want to go into it too much, but I just heard this before the show started. Donald Cerrone. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that guy.
Yes. Yes, very much.
I don't know how many main events he's been in.
Big win yesterday.
You know, he's always been a top competitor. What was that?
He had a big win yesterday.
Yes, exactly. So he's had 40 fights in the UFC now. Okay, how much do you think he's made in those 40 fights?
Million?
I don't know.
$1.36 million. That translates to $33,000 a fight.
Well, in fairness though, that's the published number. That doesn't include the bonuses he gets. That's just the published number. Now, granted, that's a low number.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, but this is what I'm saying is like, are we going to go off? I don't trust those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So even if it is a little bit above that, I'll just give you one more example that I know of. Before Nate Diaz, Stockton represent, fought Conor McGregor. He fought this guy Michael Johnson. He was the main event on the Fox card.
Very good fighter.
Do you know how much he made for that fight? Do you know how much he made for that fight?
No.
20 grand?
He made 20 and 20.
Yeah.
So he made a total of 40, but he was only guaranteed $20,000.
Right.
The main event on the Fox card.
Yeah.
That's insane. So again, I don't want, like, my thing is I don't want to get into the promoter talk, but what I'm saying is their model is like, if you notice on the ESPN, they forced their way onto ESPN. They told ESPN, because they know how much power they have right now, you're going to use our broadcast team. They're going to be under contract with us. See, that's what they're all trying to do. Then they pay back the fighters by saying, here, we'll give you a contract as an announcer or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to try to make it up on the back end. And to keep them as, like, basically attack dogs. So if you go on YouTube and stuff, a lot of these guys that have podcasts, if you listen to them talk, it's very obvious they're all getting paychecks from the UFC still, but they're all walking around acting like they're objective and all this stuff. I don't know, there's a bad model going on around here, and I think it's going to start seeping into boxing, but we'll see. So anyway, that's my call, fellas. I really appreciate it, and great show as always, guys. I'll talk to you next week, hopefully.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Thank you very much. Stockton, son. All right. Next caller.
From this day, you'll be my new fool.
Something new.
Georgie, what's up?
Georgie.
Something new from the
I wouldn't go that far. I really wouldn't go that far. You know, I was forced into this title shot by behest of me. I did this as a favor to you people. I put it on the line for you people. That's what I do. Especially when no bet was made. I'm just saying it wasn't official. This is like having a fight without signing a contract. That's what this is like.
You know what, Eric? What's the next big fight?
Let me tell you what the next big fight is, and let me tell you a fight that we already bet on.
Okay.
Let me tell you a fight that Georgie and I already bet on.
Listen, hold on. Time out.
Wait.
Time out.
The champ is talking. Let me tell you a fight that we already bet on, Georgie. Do you remember Nonito Donaire versus Zolani Tete in the World Boxing Super Series?
Eric, I'm going to have to go. Birdman, dude. You gotta
Rematch, buddy.
on my name with a K, baby.
Put some respect on my name.
You went Porgy, you tremble. You know that.
Hey, and I got a bone to pick with you. Hey, by the way, hey, Georgie, I got a bone to pick with you.
He was a fake champion.
I was a fake champion. Son, I beat you.
He was always a fake champion. He was always a fake champion.
Let me tell you this. I got a bone to pick with Georgie here. I got a bone to pick with you, Georgie. Yeah. Not prison rules like the normal ones.
Listen, this title must be defended at least 6 times a year.
No, that's not the way.
He never made mandatories. He was a fraud.
You could. I made mandatories because I beat all the mandatories.
Yeah.
Georgie dropped. I swear to God, Georgie. And
he hung up on Georgie. What a fraud.
I didn't. Oh my God, Georgie, if you're listening, I swear to God, I didn't do that on purpose. It just dropped. So that's what happens when you get those trap phones.
Call back in, champ. Call back in, champ.
He can't. The lines are closed.
That's conspiracy right there.
That might have been the best ever. Oh, that's terrible. Georgie, the phone lines are closed, so you can't. Unfortunately, you can't call in. But that was just. I don't know if he dropped or Blog Talk dropped it or what happened.
Hung up on him. Stop lying.
No, well, it could have been either way.
I swear that wasn't me, Georgie. I promise, man. I promise that was not me. All right. So let's go to the news and rumors here. The big news this week. Let's see here. Canelo and Danny Jacobs. The fight is scheduled to take place May 4th and will most likely take place in Vegas. That's where all Canelo's fights are anyway. And it'll be on DAZN. Any thoughts, guys?
Good for Danny. I'm happy for Danny.
You're a man of few words today.
But we all know that Danny's not winning that fight unless he knocks him out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way. That's just the way it goes.
No, but you do admit, Beeb, it will be a competitive fight.
Yeah, you're not going to win a decision over him, though.
He's not going to get a decision.
No.
No.
All right, train wreck of the week this week. And I would bring Elena down, but, you know, she pied me in the face, so she doesn't get to do it this week, and that's just the way it is. Sergey Kovalev, arrested for beating a woman. TMZ reported the story that Kovalev was arrested in Big Bear, California on June 9th after a woman told police that the former light heavyweight champion socked her in the face, causing serious injuries. Sources connected with the case tell TMZ the woman is claiming that Kovalev hit on her at a party earlier in the evening, but she rejected him. She claims Sergey and a friend followed her back to her cabin, and that's where the alleged attack occurred. The woman claims she suffered major injuries, including a severely broken nose, a concussion, and a displaced disc in her neck. I'll tell you what, man, if this is true, this is really bad. And Kovalev was apparently arrested for this back in June, I guess. Just really awful. And, you know, I don't know. You know, what do you they shouldn't be allowed to fight at that point until this is cleared up. Am I wrong about this?
No. Look, unfortunately, Sergey Kovalev has a horrible reputation about, you know, being involved with violent stuff, especially over in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And remember how he used to act after some of his fights when he knocked people out? It's almost like he enjoyed it and he was out for people's blood. This doesn't shock me at all, and I would say that he's got some serious issues that he's got to deal with, and no, he shouldn't be fighting until this is resolved.
No, Joe Lopez in the chat just said, I find the story hard to believe. Isn't Kovalev married? Yeah, that'll do it. All right, Bob Arum says that Heyman doesn't want to work with other promoters. Beeb, you did a video on this earlier on in the week, and Bob Arum said that the only promoter in the world that will not allow his fighters to fight anyone is Al Heyman in the PBC. Isn't this just complete nonsense?
Well,
doesn't he go outside all the time and have fights?
Well, the thing is, it's hypocrisy because Arum, when he had Cotto, Clottey, Margarito, Pacquiao, Marquez, when he had all the welterweights, he was doing in-house fights. I mean, think about it. Yeah, Pacquiao fought Bradley 3 times. Pacquiao fought Marquez 4 times. Look how many in-house fights that Arum had when he had. But now that he doesn't have the welterweights, and PBC does, now all of a sudden he's complaining about PBC doing in-house fights. But PBC co-promotes. They even work with Arum on occasion. Like I said earlier in the show, the one fight that Arum wants is that Terrence Crawford Errol Spence fight because there's no opponents for Terrence Crawford. He's running out of opponents. Amir Khan's not a bad fight, but at the end of the day, he wants that Spence fight, and Spence and his team do not want that fight right away. They want to do some other things first. They want to, there's no sense of urgency from Spence's team because they have all the welterweight champions over their side of the street. So that's why they want to do what they're doing, and Crawford really has no other options over there, and that's why Arum's frustrated. But yeah, it is a bunch of bullshit, and it's hypocrisy on top of the bullshit.
Complete nonsense. I mean, it really is. Let's see here. Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko, is he coming back? Mike Coppinger reported on Twitter. He put sources, and says former heavyweight champion Vladimir Klitschko was discussing a 3-fight deal with DAZN that would end his retirement. First fight would be a tune-up, followed by rematches with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua in that order. I don't really have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, I hope he stays retired. I mean, the fact that he lost to both of those guys, I think that, maybe his batteries are recharged and he thinks he can come back, but I wouldn't,
Well, the only guy I feel bad for in this whole situation is Dillian White, because Dillian White deserves a big heavyweight fight.
Well, Dillian White is now a free agent. It's a free agent now, and I know he's talking to the PBC, so hopefully he ends up there. I mean, they'll have better options for him because Eddie has completely botched his career.
Okay.
Speaking of Eddie botching careers, Dimitri Bivol signs with Eddie Hearn and will defend his title on March 9th against Joe Smith Jr. So there you go. And then let's see here what else we got. Louis Ortiz will fight Christian Hammer on March 2nd on that undercard on March 2nd. So there you are.
Yeah, that'll be on Fox.
Yeah. All right. And before we leave, Robert, who goes to the Super Bowl?
I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the Patriots and the New Orleans Saints to beat the Los Angeles Rams.
So you're going chalk, huh? Beeb, you got the Patriots winning everything? He doesn't
my
care.
heart's with them, but I don't see them beating the Chiefs.
Oh, they look good last week, though, man.
Yeah,
they look good last week.
It's tough.
Tommy Waxeo says,
who do you got, Beeb, Saints or Rams?
Probably the Rams.
Okay, Eric, who do you got?
Saints and Patriots. Saints and Patriots.
Well, we'll talk about it next week, guys.
There you go. Tommy Boxeo just said in the chat, put Eric versus Georgie on the Laura Castano undercard.
There you go.
There it is.
Boy, Eric will pull out.
What else would I do? Beeb's just jealous. He's never beat the champ. He's never worn the strap. That's why he's sitting there now. All salty. I've given you plenty of opportunities.
Oh,
salty.
One more thing before we
Yes.
get out of here, guys. Next week we'll be back at our regular time, but the following week before the Super Bowl we'll be doing an early show also.
There you go. There you go. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert or call Ringside Robbie's Corner at
773-572-7781. And after the podcast is over, if you want to leave a message, press pound and I'll get back to you.
All right. You can catch Joe Habib on Twitter at jhabib1 and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. I'm at Ringside73, and we will see you next week.